honey, I can work a 9 to 5. I won't be thrilled to do it. But if that's the lifestyle you want, we can do that. Or you can allow me to kind of grind for a year or two, see if I can make something more of myself. I'll be more fulfilled that way, but it will require a little bit of sacrifice in these first couple of years of marriage.
Is it possible to grow a YouTube channel beyond just you? What are the steps from going from a nobody to a somebody who can help thousands of people every single day through free content and online courses? We're going to be breaking down that and so much more in today's interview with entrepreneur and content creator Parker Wolbeck. My name is Heather Torres, and I'm the host of the Think Media podcast, the #1 podcast to help you grow your influence on YouTube and then turn that influence into a high impact and a high income online business. And that's what we're breaking down today, that piece about building the online business. Here at Think Media, we want to help you grow your YouTube channel, but that really is just step one. Ultimately, we want you to be creating an entire online business. Now, if you're just getting started, you might think, Heather, that is very intimidating, but we have so many resources and tools to help you on this journey. And one of those resources is actually the partner of today's podcast, Thinkific. Whether you have a channel about cooking, guitar, teaching, online business, or fitness, YouTube creators just like you are sharing something in common: the desire to reach more viewers and build a bigger impact without trading their time for money. But how do you do that? By creating an online course through the platform Thinkific. More than 50,000 course creators have already used Thinkific to build their revenue to educate students worldwide. You can get started today by going to createwiththink.com and start your online course. Now, in today's episode, we're diving in with Parker Wolbeck, entrepreneur and content creator who started as a nobody and has now created an empire online. This is such an encouraging interview because he talks about how he went from giving his services away for free to building a team of creators who are generating multiple 7 figures. I'm excited for you to dive into this, and we'll discuss it after the featured interview.
Today, you've got over 400,000 followers on Instagram, and you've worked with brands like Hyundai, cars, LG, Huawei, Canon. It built a 7-figure plus per year course business, all this different kind of stuff. But you've really gone through the steps. You've built up an expertise, you've built up a skill. When did you get into video in the first place and originally become the full-time filmmaker himself?
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to echo exactly what you said. Everybody that is trying to YouTube, I tell every single one of them, you need to create your own digital product and sell it. Take advantage of the traffic you're generating and create your own product. I mean, it's a smart business move to make if you're going to spend all this time, generating traffic on a YouTube channel. Package something that you can sell, and selling knowledge is always a safe bet, and something that you and I have both proven can be a very lucrative, successful business model. But I started on the video side of things. I started for real hitting the ground about 10 years ago. I was doing summer sales, knocking doors, selling direct TV, and about a month of that, and I knew that wasn't the life I wanted to live. I always wanted to get into video, but didn't really know how to get started. So I quit my summer sales job midsummer, came home, used all the money I'd made there, and bought my first starter camera and a laptop, and just started watching YouTube videos and trying to teach myself, figuring out if I could do it. And that's when I came across Devin Supertramp's YouTube channel and saw all of his behind the scenes, saw what he was doing, and saw, hey, you actually can make money with video. And he was one of the first making money on YouTube as well. And so I just kind of started following his pattern and doing what he was doing. And then luck would have it, about 6 months into just dabbling in video, Devin posted on social media saying, hey, I need somebody who has arms that look like this because I got to redo some shots. And he needed basically an arm model. And so I sent him a picture of my arms, and he messaged me back and said, "Hey, perfect. Can you be in Provo tomorrow?" And I'm like, absolutely. So I got to meet my idol at the time and was super stoked to work with him. And we just kind of hit it off, and I offered my services for free. I said, "Hey, I'm looking to grow in the video world. Would love to come shadow you, do some free work, edit for free." So I worked for Devin for free for probably 2 or 3 months before he finally was like, okay, this guy adds some value to me, and he hired me on full time. And I traveled the world with Devin for about 3 years, and at some point got burnt out of it, wanted to start a family. And I mentioned to him the idea of starting a course, and he wasn't really about it. He wanted to stick to what he was doing with his YouTube stuff. So I quit and started building full-time filmmaker. I recognized a lot of people asking me questions. I had built somewhat of a following because of the runoff of Devin's subscribers. And people were asking me, "Hey, how did you get started in this? How do you get these colors? How do you get smooth shots?" And I just saw the potential. I'm like, there is a demand, there's a need. People are asking questions about this, and so I might as well cash in and figure out how to monetize all those questions. And so that's what started the building a full-time filmmaker.
And what year was that you transitioned with Devin and started to build out the course?
Yeah, so I worked with Devin from about 2013 to 2015. 2015, I quit the month I got married and spent about 9 months building full-time filmmaker, basically unemployed. I was also on the side building my own video production company while building full-time filmmaker. So just burning the candle at both ends. That first year of marriage, and that was in 2015. 2016, we launched full-time filmmaker. So it's been about 5 years now that we've been running full-time filmmaker.
And so if we go a little bit deeper into that season, you're transitioning out of your main source of income, which was creating that content. Now you're building an online course, unemployed, self-employed. And when you say we, was it mainly you? Was now your wife helping you, or who was working on that, or were you working that out by yourself? And
yeah, I say we because I feel like in order to succeed, I think in any entrepreneurial way, you kind of have to have the support of your significant other, because there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into that on both ends. If I'm going to work 12-hour days, which sometimes is necessary in order to launch a business, your wife has to kind of be in on that and be like, okay, yeah, I am willing to sacrifice some weekends and sacrifice some nights together, knowing that you're trying to build this to secure ourselves a future. And we kind of made a pact when we first got married. I said, "Honey, I can work a 9 to 5. I won't be thrilled to do it. But if that's the lifestyle you want, we can do that. Or you can allow me to kind of grind for a year or two, see if I can make something more of myself. I'll be more fulfilled that way, but it will require a little bit of sacrifice in these first couple of years of marriage." And so I say we because she was very supportive of that. But mostly it was me doing it on my own, just asking my friends to come in and be my subject. And so it was a lot of me filming and editing myself in my, at the time, basement apartment. And it's a grind, and people see now the success and the money and the subscribers. They see all that, but they don't see the first 9 months where we were scraping by. The day I launched Full-Time Filmmaker, had $500 to my name, had whittled down all my savings, investing in this business idea. And that kind of sacrifice is kind of what it takes to be able to be successful at a high level. But those who are willing to put in the work ethic and sacrifice a little bit of fun time or travel time or vacation time or whatever to save up your money and devote your time into building something now, sacrificing now so that you can have something for later, is just kind of what it takes, I think.
That's so powerful. And you, as you're in that time, you're shooting the videos yourself. You did your own course outline. You're sometimes having friends be the subjects. Where did you upload and host that original course? And what were sort of the technical side of it?
Yeah, so I should give credit to a good buddy of mine, Chris Newman. When I quit Devin Supertramp, he called me up the week or so after and said, "Hey, man, you need to build a course." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know, man." He's like, "Trust me, man. I have a drone course. I've been teaching people how to drone. It's great money. It's really awesome." And I was like, maybe, I don't know. And he just kept telling me every week. And finally, one week, I'm like, "All right, I'll give it a shot." And so Chris convinced me to start it. And then I basically just followed Chris as my mentor. He had set up his course on Thinkific. So that's what I used. He used he was using Aweber at the time for emailing. That was the one software I did. MailChimp, different than him, but I basically followed his pattern. And that's another thing I tell people too, is find a mentor, find somebody who's already paved the path and done it successfully, learn from their mistakes, cut your learning curve in half so that you're not just guessing, but figure out, okay, so-and-so did this and it's worked, so let's do something similar to that. It doesn't have to be verbatim, but do find a mentor. That's one of the biggest pieces of advice I could give to people is find a Sean, find a Parker who's been successful, and look at how they built their site. Look at what hosting sites they're using, and if it's worked there, it can probably work for you too. But yeah, Thinkific's where I started. Started uploading videos to there. It was a great software, worked fine. About a year and a half in, I switched over to Teachable. They just had a few different features that I liked. And then just recently, a few months ago, we switched to Kajabi. So we've kind of been all over the map. And I tell people it doesn't really matter which site you use. I think they're all great. And we've proven that with any of them, we can make 7 figures a year. So it's not really about the software. Just pick one that fits your needs, has the features you like best.
And then you work for 9 months, you hustle, you build it, you're down to $500 left when you launch it. How do you launch it and market the course when you first come out with Full-Time Filmmaker 1.0?
Yeah, so I read this awesome book by Jeff Walker called, I think it's just called Launch. But basically, he tells you how to launch anything digitally online, any digital product, how to launch. And he gives, mental triggers like create anticipation and how to do a pre-launch. And so he gives a lot of awesome tips. And I basically just followed the book verbatim and didn't really know what I was doing, but thought he had some good ideas. And so about a week or two before I was ready to launch, I wasn't actually ready. I was still, tightening up all the loose ends. But about a week or two before, I just started putting out content to my following. At the time, I had maybe 30,000 Instagram followers and maybe 8,000 YouTube subscribers. So not a huge following, but significant enough. And started putting out content saying, hey, I'm building a course. If you'd like to be notified when we launch, which will be at the time, I think it was April 6th, I was launching, and about March 20th, I started sending emails saying, hey, sign up for my live webinar where I'm going to launch this. So I started collecting emails at this point for this launch event, this live webinar where I was going to be. I think I launched with, I was giving away 5 glide cams to the first 100 people who sign up for my course. You'd be entered to win one of 5 glide cams. So I used some of these marketing tactics to kind of get people excited about this launch event, and built up about 1,500 people on my mailing list that were subscribed to my email list to go to this live webinar. And about every 3 days, I'd send out a piece of content, just something, a little teaser. Hey, this is what the course is going to be like. So for about 10 days, send them content every 3 days. And then the day of, I said, all right, here's the live webinar link. Come on at this time. And I think we got 300 or 400 people of those 1,500 to actually watch that live event. And it was about an hour long. I basically just said, all right, here's what I've been doing the last 9 months. Here's why I think you should buy it. Here's the perks. Here's what it covers. And then I opened the shopping cart and said, all right, it's now available. The first 100 people that join will be entered to win 5 glide cams. And that first, that first hour, we did, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was around 40 grand in sales in that first hour. And my wife is next to me in the background, just so excited. And, we'd gone from nothing in the bank account to suddenly, it paid off. And it was just we didn't know if it would pay off, and it did right in that first hour. So it was a pretty fun launch event for us.
Yeah, that's incredible. And, success leaves clues. Jeff Walker is a legend in the space. That book actually just now has a second edition. It just was relaunched with some new content. And podcast listeners, of course, there'll be a ton of resources in the show notes today, but definitely we recommend that one when you think about launching your digital product. But that's so powerful because you put it out, and you also, it's encouraging to hear your results on that first launch, but you didn't try to make up the path on your own. I mean, that's why you help people today. You learn from your mentor. You learn from Jeff Walker. You took the time to put in the work and do the steps. And man, $40,000 comes in and gets you now moving with full-time filmmaker. I'm curious, when did you hire your first person? I mean, today this thing has grown and you've got help. What was the journey of the team being built up, and how did you think about, okay, how do I now do customer service or fulfillment, or how quickly did you need help with the speed of growth at Full-Time Filmmaker?
Yeah, so that launch week, the launch day, we did about 40 grand. By the end of the week, I had an opening and a closing. So there was a launch sequence. 1 week, you get 50% off. At the end of that week, we did around 100 grand for the launch week. And after that, I honestly took a back seat with the course stuff and started focusing back on video production, which, thinking back now, I'm like, that was stupid. Like, I had this awesome opportunity I just launched, and I went immediately back into trading time for money and working for clients. But it's hard to say no. It's hard to stop doing what you were doing before. And I still had people asking, hey, can you come film this? And it's just hard to say no when it's comfortable, it's money, it's there. And so I kind of stopped doing Full-Time Filmmaker for about 4 months after the launch, and just kind of let the launch settle down and made sure that people liked it, and spent some time building it out a little bit more from the feedback I was getting from students. And then at that point, it was like, hey, how do I keep selling this? Because I wasn't really selling at that point, because I wasn't really marketing and advertising it. And that's when I started figuring out how to run Facebook and YouTube ads, or excuse me, at the time, just Facebook ads. And so that's when I was thinking, okay, I got to hire somebody. I don't know how to do social media ads. And so I hired a buddy of mine, Dallin Wright, just paid him retainer, like $1,000 a month or something. I said, hey, help me figure out this Facebook ad stuff. And so he'd work part-time for me, trying to dabble in my Facebook ads. And it was enough. He figured out enough to kind of help me get going and get off the ground and launch some Facebook ads. And then I started doing live webinars every week. But I couldn't afford to pay him enough. I wasn't generating enough money to really bring him on full time. And so he had to leave and go do something else full time, but he helped me enough to get going. And then about, I'd probably say maybe 6 months in to running ads, and about a year into launching Full-Time Filmmaker, I started generating enough revenue and having enough customer service and stuff that I was like, okay, I need some help. This is a little bit overwhelming. So I hired on one of my Full-Time Filmmaker students, actually, who I thought was really talented as basically an editor and to help with some customer service stuff. He had bigger ambitions to travel the world and didn't really think that we'd be just, editing all day and doing customer service. So he only lasted about 6 months. And then after that, I hired Jake Weisler, who is still with me today. So about a year and a half in, I'd say, maybe 2 years in, I hired my first full-time employee in Jake Weisler.
That's a cool timeline to hear, and just the nature of entrepreneurship. Working with some people, solving problems today, finding that synergy, and building a team person by person, and not even 2 years until the full-time person. It reminds me of Heather Torres on the Think Media team. When we were just starting, she worked for free on performance-based of something that didn't exist yet. It was actually our first online course, and it was like, you can have this percentage of sales. The course doesn't even exist yet. And so let's build it together. Let's see how that goes. And she's an intrapreneur, an entrepreneur in her own right. That was like, I actually believe this will do well, so I'm taking risk with you. Team member by team member. Today, what does the team look like? Has it grown? I assume more. And you have course creator, pro, right? And then film, like you've got a premium where people can get access to a lot of micro courses on real estate, film production, and smartphone creation and whatnot. So it definitely has gotten more and more complex. Is it all under one umbrella and then these different niches, or what does the company look like today?
Yeah, so when Jake came on, and I always tell people this because I think it's significant to understand, I always tell people focus on your highest value activities and delegate out your lower value activities. And for me at the time, that was editing, that was customer service. And so when you find yourself in a position where you're feeling overwhelmed doing a lot of things and you have enough money to pay somebody to do something, absolutely do it. And for me, that was Jake taking over a lot of that lower value activities. And that allowed me to spend more of my time creating more YouTube content, putting out more Facebook ads, doing the higher value activities that were going to bring in more money. I now had the infrastructure and the manpower to handle the higher traffic and the higher revenues coming in with Jake being there. And I'd say within 3 or 4 months, we doubled revenue from the time that I hired Jake. I was probably doing, I don't know, 50 to 100 grand a month before him, and doubled to 150 to 200 grand a month once I brought Jake on. Within a few months, it was very apparent that, if I'm putting a lot more of my time into things that make the company money, then we can make a lot more money. And so that first hire was super important to the growth of our business. And within just a few months, we started recognizing, okay, we need even more help because we doubled overnight. And so hired on some more customer service. And I always tell every employee that comes to work for me that, sky's the limit. You can grow as much or as little as you want here. You can take over the business completely if that's how talented you are. And I would love that. And so Jake kind of grew, started on the bottom doing customer service, the grunge work, grew into where he's at now, which is a co-creator on the YouTube channel doing solo videos for our YouTube audience. And he's created entire mini courses inside of our full-time filmmaker product. And so Jake's been an awesome value add to the company. And Landon, by the way, was our second, I guess, content creator that came on, and those two kind of helped shape what would be potentially the future of full-time filmmakers, brand and face. And then we have a few customer service people. We have now behind the scenes shooters. We have editors. We have kind of overall managers of the team. So I think we're up to 7 or 8 members of our team now. And it was about, I think, 2018 or 2019. So Full-Time Filmmaker had been running for about 3 years. And my brother Dakota approached me wanting to do something together. I had always been wanting to create another course, another business entirely called Course Creator Pro that teaches people how to build what I built with Full-Time Filmmaker. But I just didn't have time for it. I was just too consumed with running Full-Time Filmmaker. And so I told Dakota, I said, hey, I have this business idea, but I can create the content, but I'll need you to edit all the videos together and basically run the business once it's up and running. I'll split it with you 50-50 if you want to go in on it. And so Dakota then invested a year of his life into helping me build Course Creator Pro. And we launched that, I think, in 2019. And that's done very well as well. It's probably a fourth the size of revenue success as Full-Time Filmmaker. It's a different, I would say, smaller market, but it's done really well as well. But that's an entirely separate entity from Full-Time Filmmaker, and that has 2 or 3 of its own employees. So those specifically are kind of separated: Full-Time Filmmaker, Course Creator Pro, 2 different businesses that we built there. And I don't have a ton to do with Course Creator Pro. I probably spend 10% of my time there, and more around 80% of my time in Full-Time Filmmaker. But yeah, that's kind of within Full-Time Filmmaker, all those mini courses you see, real estate, weddings, commercial, those are all just courses within the package of Full-Time Filmmaker.
It's an amazing story. And one thing I kind of want to drill down on is some of these people close to you that you've co-launched a business now together. You have other content creators on the channel. I mean, you and I having this conversation is unique. There's certainly other examples on YouTube where there's kind of like teams of people doing things besides solo creators doing things. And today on Think Media, we have Nolan Molt and Omar El Takori creating content on the main channel. Heather Torres has got her own show and co-hosts our podcast, and Tony's creating content. And we're actually in that kind of team, brand building it's a little bit different than just being a YouTuber kind of idea. But I'm sure for those that are maybe wondering, man, that seems like it'd be super out of reach. And like, do you just find somebody that's a stranger? I know from our perspective, a lot of these relationships have taken years. Heather Torres and I have known each other for 5 years, but Omar and I have known each other for 10 years, and we were on a church staff together. Some of these, what's your philosophy in building out other co-creators that are on the channel with you? And that's a family member. So have you found that when it comes to building a team, trust is everything? What's some of your, thoughts for somebody else that's like, I don't know about trusting people or hiring people, and like, I would like to do that, but what are your thoughts on building that really shared platform type of business and those kind of partnerships?
Yeah, first of all, I think that's super awesome that you guys have expanded out your creator lineup as well. There's different ways to go about it, but I think we're pretty similar minded business wise, where running a YouTube channel is not easy. Running a course is not easy. And having to be the solo face of it, there's a lot of pressure on you, and you just don't have as much time and life freedom when that is the case. And so I wanted a different lifestyle. And so that's why I wanted to bring on other creators. And so, some people like being the solo artist of their business. And me personally, I wanted to build out a team, a system that I could oversee and not have to be the only one who it was dependent on to succeed. But yeah, so the hiring process, I mean, I'm no expert on it. I've only been doing it for a few years now, so who knows if I've been doing it right. We'll find out long term, I guess. But my philosophy has kind of always been what I guess the approach I took when I was working for guys like Devin Supertramp, which is show me you can add value, show me that you're invested in what we're doing here, and you'll get a bigger piece of the pie. I'm not really one to say, yeah, I'll pay you $2,000 a month to do this task. I like saying, show me that you care about this thing we're building here, and I'll give you a percentage of it. And as it grows, you'll grow with it. And so that's kind of the approach I've taken with most of my employees. As we've grown bigger, we've found that, okay, now we need someone to do just this little task, so we can pay them just a monthly salary for that. But, with the creators, if they're going to be invested in the success of the business and really care about the content they're putting out, that it succeeds, I personally like to give them kind of a chunk of what we're doing and say, if it does well, you will do well. If it doesn't do well, you won't do well. So you can work as hard or as little as you want, but you'll get compensated accordingly. But yeah, I think all of them at some point have reached out to me. And pretty much all of them have come through the full-time filmmaker Vine. So it's been students of mine who've taken my course and said, hey, I'd love to work for you. And I'd say, well, let me know what value you can add. Would love to have you if there's value to be had. And the first time Jake sent me a message, he said, all right, well, here's some work I've been doing, and it wasn't that good. And I said, keep working. You're not quite there. I don't see a ton of value in what you can offer, but keep progressing, keep working hard, and maybe in the future. And about 3 months later, he had busted his butt and sent me another video and said, hey, check out my latest video. And I thought, hey, that's actually really good. And he caught my eye, and so I gave him a chance. And so people who've been persistent with me, who've shown a lot of promise in their ability to grow and work hard, and shown that they really are passionate and really care about what I'm doing and want to be a part of it, end up being the ones who work for me. It's a lot harder. There's plenty of talented people out there, but it's hard to find people that work really hard, that have that work ethic, and that care about what you're doing specifically. So that's kind of what I've looked for is people who have the talent, but also are extremely hardworking and care about what you're doing. And then it was probably a 2 or 3 year process of molding guys like Jake and Landon to the point where it was like, okay, they can create on their own. They don't need me to micromanage them. I trust what they're doing. So it is a process of hiring somebody to recreate your craft as an artist, as a YouTuber. It's hard to just get someone to come in and do exactly what you do, and they do things a little bit different. And ideally, they bring in things that you don't do and add value in ways you can't. But there does have to be some synergy and some brand connectivity between you guys. And so trying to get everyone on the same page to create in similar ways does take time. But the investment has been worth it so far. It's freed up my life. They've been a huge blessing to me, and allowing the business to continue grow without me having to shoulder the most of the load.
Man, a lot of insights there, and I'm excited to get into some of your tips for those that should package what they know into online courses. But a huge insight was that you first put in the hard work and you bootstrapped and you built this thing, which started to gather a community. And then out of that community, you met Jake and you met some of the other people on your team. And it's interesting because the same is true with, our core course is called Video Reiki Academy. And Tony Ariola, who's now full-time, has progressed at our company. He's like our, we call him executive producer because he fully has absorbed our whole system, titles, thumbnails, positioning, influencing thumbnails, click-through rate. And we're at about 10 uploads a week across channels. So there's a lot to produce.
Yeah.
And he had joined our course. And then he actually came to an event. We do an annual event. He went through the course 2 times, so he really wanted to master it. He applied it on his channel, on his wife's plant-based kitchen channel, ranked some videos, got some success, got passive affiliate income coming in from an Airbnb video he made. So he had done a lot of those things, and he showed up to one of our events actually and helped us set up chairs before, just for when we were launching our book. And we started to talk, and next thing you know, he actually did like a low paid internship, like just a not, super low an amount per hour internship because we were still kind of at a growth tension moment. But he showed up, added value, and now he's created this leadership position at our company and just continues to progress. So the inspiring thing there is, I think, for those listening, is thinking about, when you're the entrepreneur, though, when you're the builder, when you're the person who's trying to generate all this stuff, like Parker, there's those lonely times before the Jake, before the Tony Ariola. There's the times when it's just you, it's on you, and you got to create the momentum. You got to build the thing. You got to get it going. And then it's like steps and seasons. And now that there is some momentum, others can join, and there's some revenue for that, and you can kind of build. So let's take it back, Parker, though, to that initial getting things going. You mentioned at the beginning of this, every YouTube creator should seriously consider taking what they know and creating a digital product, creating an online course. What are your first initial pieces of advice for identifying maybe, well, what should I talk about? What's my research and development phase of things? Even the hosting and whatnot, that could come, sure. But like, even just, well, what would I package? How do I get started when I maybe already feel overwhelmed, trying to just maintain uploading content, continuing to do freelance work, working a part-time or full-time job to keep the lights on? Speak to that beginning stages of doing this right and getting this going.
Yeah, I tell people that if you've created a following, that's a pretty telltale sign that there's people willing to buy something from you. Then it's just figuring out, what do they want? And I usually follow the questions. What questions are they asking? What problems are they having? What can you solve? What value can you add to their life? And, as a filmmaking channel, there's people want LUTs. They want to learn how to color correct. People want to learn, education. How did you do that? There's so many transitions. There's so many little things you could create. It doesn't even have to be education per se. That's where I've specialized, is creating education, creating courses. But I recognize so many opportunities to create little products, light leaks. I mean, there's just so many things that you could build around what you do based on what your followers, your people who watch your stuff, are asking for or wanting, or problems they're having. And so it's looking for those opportunities in the problems. And I think that's something most people don't intuitively do. They see a problem, they're annoyed by it, and they spend their time in the DMs trying to help people with their problems. Like, no. Get out of the DMs, take note of all your DMs and say, okay, I've gotten 10 DMs on this one subject. Clearly, it's something a lot of people struggle with or a lot of people want to know about. Instead of writing out 10 different DMs to all these people saying pretty much the exact same thing, log all their questions and notes somewhere, and then script out a video and then put it in a course and then send people a link to the answer to that question and say, hey, for $50, I've spent the last week or two developing this process that covers exactly what you're looking for. And you'd be surprised. Most of them would say, awesome, great, I'm going to buy that. Thank you so much for doing that. And so it's mutually beneficial. You put more time into answering their question effectively instead of just 3 minutes in the DMs, and you benefit by getting their money. It was shocking to me when I launched Full-Time Filmmaker. I was expecting refunds. I was expecting complaints. I was expecting this isn't good enough. All I got was gratitude. People saying, thank you so much for building this. This is going to change my life. This is amazing. And I was like, thank me. I just made $100,000 in a week. I should be thanking all of you. It is mutually beneficial to create something, take the extra time to create something that people can buy instead of just answering DMs all day. That's annoying for you, and it's really not that helpful for them. Take the time to create something that will actually solve their problems, and then you will actually benefit from taking the time to do that.
One of the big questions people have, and of course, Think Media Podcast, check out show notes because, the fast track and the smart move is to find a mentor. And of course, Parker can help, and we'll link to his resources in the description and show notes. But pricing, two questions. People, how long should I make my course? What do I give away free versus what goes in my course? Or how do I handle that when I'm creating YouTube content? And then how should I price this thing? What is your advice?
Yeah, I always tell people, give people what they want and sell them on what they need. So for example, a cousin of mine was calling. He does personal training, fitness stuff, and he's looking to build a course. And he said, I just don't know because everyone wants to know about the workouts, but really the nutrition is what's most important. That's 80% of losing weight and staying fit. But everyone wants to know about my workouts. And I'm like, well, I'll tell you that, but you really need to know about the nutrition. And I said, Quinn, give them what they want for free and then say, but look, this is only 20% of the equation. If you want to actually lose weight, you have to figure out your diet. You got to figure out how to eat right. I built this course that teaches you how to eat right. And so you reel them in with what they want, and then you sell them on what they actually need. So that's my advice as far as what do you put out for free versus what do you reserve. Figure out what people are most interested in. For filmmaking, it's the gear. It's what's the latest camera? Oh, that Canon thing just came out. So I do a comparison or I do a review and we talk about the gear. And then at the end of the video, I say, okay, that was a fun piece of gear to talk about, really cool technology. But guess what? If you don't know how to use it, it doesn't make a difference. So if you want to learn how to actually get good at video, got to check out Full-Time Filmmakers. We're going to teach you how to do this, this, and this, and actually take advantage of the gear that you have. And so that's kind of my approach with that. Pricing wise, I usually tell people to charge more than you think. That obviously doesn't apply to everything in every scenario, but the most course creators I find are undervaluing their knowledge. They're not confident in what they have to offer. And it depends on what you're offering. But if there is an ROI to be made, if somebody by taking your course can benefit in a way where that they'll save money in this way, or they'll be able to generate money in this way by having your knowledge, then value it accordingly and recognize, man, if somebody can make a 6-figure a year job, but with my knowledge, then it's worth more than $30 on Udemy. Don't throw out people when they see that. In my opinion, when people see a $10 Udemy class, they think, they don't even value their own knowledge. Why should I? And I found as well that when you price it a little bit more substantially, people are actually invested in what they bought. If they spent $10 on it, it's just like, if I get to it, I'll get to it. And they don't actually value what you're teaching in that versus if you charge $100, they're going to take the time to actually dive into it and consume it well because they invested in it. And in my opinion, you'll also filter out some of those I call them the needier students are usually the ones who aren't as invested, who got a really good deal or whatever. when they don't pay as much, they're not as invested in it, in putting in the time to learn it, and they're going to be more, asking you questions over email and customer service because they're generally just going to be lazier because they didn't invest in it. So they're going to take more of your time, and so that's my approach anyway. Is I charge a little bit more. It is going to cut out some of the people who can't afford that, but generally those are going to be a little bit lazier learners who aren't willing to invest in themselves. And so, there's pros and cons and different ways to price, but I'm usually on the end of recommending a little bit higher tickets and filtering out some of the people who aren't going to invest in the education.
What does it feel like now? Because you're years into doing the work. Congratulations, number 3. You have 2 kids. Number 3 is on the way. You had mentioned years ago, you're like, I wanted to start a family, and recognized, especially when I was on the grind, traveling, doing the filming work. And so you've been very intentional to honor your values and build a business that's also around your lifestyle. There's no question it takes a ton of work, and you put that work in, but it also has created leverage because now you have assets, something you've created once that you can continue to sell. What does it feel like? And what kind of encouragement do you have for those to maybe hone their vision of what's possible in the future on the other side of doing the hard work of figuring out your course and figuring out pricing, and maybe having a webinar or 2 or 10 not work until you really dial in your offer? Yeah. But what is this business model kind of afforded you today?
It's, in a word, freeing. I feel free. I feel like I'm in control of my own life. I also tell anyone who's trying to be an entrepreneur that while being free, you're also tied to your business. If you want it to be successful as the owner, you're the one that has to get up late at night if there's an immediate problem that needs to be attended to. But, ultimately, it's completely changed my life. When we first started it, my wife and I sat her down and I said, are you willing to sacrifice right now so that we can live the way that nobody else can in 5 years from now? And she agreed to that. And so that's where we're at now. 5 years later, we are living a life that most people can't because we are willing to live a life that nobody's willing to when we first got married. And so absolutely, the sacrifice was worth it. We paid for it. Our relationship, it was great, but when we had our first baby, I was present, but always in the head of the business, always thinking about things. And I remember Lex always going over to her, my in-laws, her mom's house, because she didn't have the emotional support she needed from me because I was so consumed in building this business. And then by the time I got out of the grind and I was ready to spend more time with the family, I found that she was in these weird habits of always going to her mom's house. And I'm like, why are we going over here? And she's like, well, this is how I've lived the past 2 years. And it kind of hit me. I was like, oh, wow, I guess I really haven't been as attentive as I should have been. And so there are cons to that, and we've had to kind of refigure out how to balance work and family. But now that we've figured it out and have a better balance, it's just an amazing feeling to know that the work paid off. And like you mentioned, it's the amount of webinar variations I had to go through to get one to work was probably 15 over 4 or 5 months before we got one ad to work, to one webinar, to one landing page to actually generate sales. And those are months most people just aren't willing to put in. But if you're willing to grind and problem solve and pivot, I always tell people to pivot. Don't just quit when this doesn't work. Make a pivot and go this way. That didn't work. Make a pivot, go that way, until you finally get something to work. And it's just something that most people aren't willing to do. I'm not that much more talented or skilled than most people on the planet. I just have a lot of confidence in myself and a lot of hard work that I put in and I know if I just keep pivoting and keep trying new things, eventually something's going to work. And so believe in yourself, have a little bit of confidence. I always say fake it till you make it, which basically means do things you're not comfortable with, do things you're not confident will work out, until they eventually work out, because you've tried so many variations that one is bound to work. But yeah, life is amazing for us, and we couldn't be happier. We feel immensely blessed, and now we're now in a situation where we feel this giant need to now give back and offer people jobs, and we're starting charities, and it's a cool position to be in a different responsibility now that we feel a burden we feel now to give back now that we've been so immensely blessed. And so, if that's where you want to be someday, in a position where you're trying to figure out how to give what you have instead of figuring out how to get something, then put in the work.
Man, I really appreciate you sharing that. And what's interesting is we have been on different trajectories, but somewhat similar, because in 2015 is when I actually transitioned out of all freelance work. I was doing social media management, video production, managing people's YouTube channels, and just into focusing on my own content and then building our first course. So it's really been the last 5-6 years that Think Media has become like a full-time thing and really been building what it is. But it was only in the last year, as we are recording this, my first son, Sean Bradley's birthday is just a few days away, his first birthday. And I can't even imagine actually trying to what the last year has been like, maybe during the climb, because it was crazy, especially the first 2-3 years of trying to do everything, because you're trying to do the front end marketing while also trying to build the course, keep the course updated, while also trying to think about hiring and get help and doing it all. But it's encouraging to hear, because I think that everybody listening to this, we all have a little bit of a different story, and I feel blessed because the last year, our business has been the most mature. And so I have had the most margin, and I would say healthy pace to have that first child. But we can't always plan those things out. And so if you're listening to this, it's kind of the nature of entrepreneurship. And if you can stay unified and survive through those seasons, the vision of what's on the other side, the freedom you now experience, the third is on the way, the ability to give back and the charitable work you're starting, man, entrepreneurs fight for that brighter future and that purpose-driven future. And so it's inspiring to hear about your journey. Well, Parker, of course, we're going to help people find all the ways they can connect with your various resources in the show notes. But anything you want to give a shout out to, how can people connect with you and follow you on the social internets?
Yeah, I'd say the main place is just our YouTube channel. Channel's called Parker Walbeck, and go give me a follow there. We put out awesome content, like I say, lots of free stuff of what you actually want, but not everything you need. And so you may have to join the course if you want to get the full. I mean, we're up to like 500 videos now. Most people don't even finish our course anymore because we've built it out so big, but there's a lot of good nuggets in there. But yeah, we focused on a lot of the creative aspects on our YouTube channel. So if you're trying to figure out how to get good at doing video, that's the place to go. We're actually getting into some challenge videos here pretty soon. We're going to start doing some fun stuff there, giving away prizes and stuff. So yeah, go check us out there. We're also on Instagram. Full-Time Filmmaker is where to go there. I have a personal account as well, but I rarely post there. Once I built up my Full-Time Filmmaker Instagram account, I felt so relieved. I'm not a big social media guy. I've never liked being on it. I don't like being in front of the camera. I don't like attention. I'm kind of introverted, but I've just recognized the opportunity to build it. And once it was built, I'm like, okay, I can kind of relax from posting now. So you can follow my personal account, Parker Welbeck, on Instagram, but I don't post very much there, mostly family stuff.
Awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. And I definitely recommend check out the YouTube channel. It's next level, man. I mean, because you guys, obviously, you've got this, all this kind of B-roll, all these shots that are just absolutely insane. And so if you want to level up to that next edge as far as your video production quality, slow motion, what's your favorite camera right now? What's your personal favorite gear right now for the kind of content you create?
Yeah, so my go-to right now is this camera right here, which is the C70, Canon C70. Since I've gone more towards cinema cameras, I'm having a hard time still liking the image quality from DSLR mirrorlesses, even though it's almost indistinguishable. I'm just kind of a camera snob. So the C70 is my go-to. The R5 which is right here above me, actually. I don't know if you can see that.
For that top-down shot?
But yeah, I was doing some top-down stuff earlier, so that's there.
Nice.
But yeah, the R5 is it's like a better for vlogging, kind of smaller footprint. And I just ordered the 8K Red Raptor, which no, I don't need it, but it's amazing. And
Yes.
and it's mostly a high-end cinema camera that we use to compare to iPhones. It's the main value we get out of that. But yeah, I'm a Canon guy. I do love red cameras, but they're big and clunky. So there's kind of a camera for everything. Did just buy the iPhone this morning. I actually shoot probably 70 or 80% of my videos, mostly of family and stuff, from the iPhone, just because it's always in your pocket. So, and I always tell people too, like, man, iPhones are so good nowadays that you don't have to buy a camera to get started. Just turn your iPhone on and start creating content. And as you grow, go, buy bigger and better gear.
I'm about to pre-order the iPhone. Did you go 13 Pro Max 1 terabyte Apple Care?
No 1 terabyte. I got the half terabyte because I use iCloud, so I don't actually need that much space. But got the Max Pro and the Pro because the Pro comes 2 weeks sooner than the Max, and so I figured I'll create some content with the Pro in the meantime.
On creating
I actually want comes, yeah.
Yeah, smart. Well, Parker, appreciate you so much. Thanks for coming on the Think Media podcast.
Thanks for having me, Sean. Appreciate you.
The question isn't which came first, it's who gets to take home that adorable little Reese's egg.
Worth it. It's a 4-word feminist manifesto. Because I'm worth it. I wrote that.
Appreciate you so much. Thanks for coming on the Think Media podcast.
Thanks for having me, Sean. Appreciate you.
Wow, what an interview. I'm so excited that Parker made it on the Think Media podcast so we could bring his knowledge to the community. I think it's so encouraging to see that, he started as a content creator. Really, he started because he didn't even like his job, and now he's grown this amazing company. Now, online courses was the thing that helped him get to where he is today. And if you want to get started with an online course, you can go to createwiththink.com to get your first month free with Thinkific. You can actually sign up for their free plan or upgrade to other plans. And when you do that, I created a free video over on our YouTube channel. If you're watching here, it's just a few videos back. If you're listening on the podcast, definitely go to the Think Media podcast channel where you're going to see a how to create an online course that sells step-by-step free tutorial that I created for those who are ready to get started with their online courses. Now here at Think Media, we've created several successful online courses. We built a multiple 7-figure media company around our online courses. So I'm sharing with you the knowledge that we've put into practice over the last half decade as we've been creating and refining our process for making great online courses. So createwiththink.com is where you'd want to go if you want to get started with that free trial. But I want to just encourage you to get started in whatever your next action step is. Maybe you're just starting your YouTube channel, or maybe you've been at this for a while and you're ready to go all in. Maybe creating that course is the right thing for you, but I want you to take action on your next step. So if you're listening over on Apple Podcasts, rate and review the podcast and let me know what are your action steps for this year. And if you're over on the YouTube channel, let me know in the comment section below what is your next step after listening to today's episode. Now, if you are one of our family members over on the YouTube channel, you've subscribed and left a comment, you might be featured on an upcoming episode. Today, I'm featuring Cheryl, who commented on the how to create an online course that sells video. And she said, "Thank you, Heather. I'm a yoga and meditation teacher, and I hope to offer my first online course in 2022. We'll bookmark this video and get to work on it." Cheryl, I hope that you get to that course this year. I cannot wait to see all the impact that you make when you actually package your knowledge into a course and put it out for the world to buy. It's so important that you know that YouTube is just the start of the whole journey of building your online business, and you can do this. I've seen so many content creators start on YouTube and grow a successful online business that's making an impact in the world. And that could be you too as well, Cheryl. Thank you so much for being a part of today's episode. Thank you to Thinkific for sponsoring today's episode. And I cannot wait for all of the content that we have for you in the future here on the Think Media podcast. I'll catch you in an upcoming episode. Bye.
Mopping is hard work. Then I tried the Swiffer Power Mop. It has a built-in solution that breaks down dirt on contact. Plus, its 360-degree swivel head cleans up along baseboards and even behind the toilet. Bye-bye, bucket. With the Swiffer Power Mop.
For my pubic area, I choose the Venus Pubic Razor, made for coarse hair and thin skin, with an irritation defense bar to help protect my skin for a shave with almost no redness and bumps. Get a shave made for your skin. My skin, my way. Venus.
Hello and welcome. Heather Torres here, and I am so excited to invite you to our exclusive training, an inside look inside of our Inner Circle, our monthly online business coaching program. And we're going to be deep diving into how to grow on Facebook. Now, the first part of today's training is going to be here inside of the Facebook group for our Inner Circle, as well as live streaming on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching on the YouTube channel, hello and welcome to this exclusive training. And then the second half is going to be an exclusive Q&A and hot seats for our Inner Circle. But today, I'm excited to jump into the topic about growing on Facebook. Now, you know, here at Think Media, we are shouting from the rooftops that you should be growing your brand and business on YouTube. However, as you start to excel and grow that brand, we want you to be experimenting and dominating on other platforms as well. And so that includes Facebook. But I have a question for you. Do you think you're short on time and you want to figure out how do you actually do this thing on Facebook? Like, how do I grow my following there and get more leads that can lead to the right customers in sales? In today's training, we're going to be doing a deep dive into helping you create a bank of content in just a weekend. You're going to learn exactly what's working right now on Facebook, so you don't have to wonder about what you should be posting. You're going to master your promotional tactics, so you never have to think about what should I be posting today. Well, no, we'll tell you exactly what to do, and you're going to learn how to scale your Facebook following without using ads or without having to dance like on TikTok, unless you want to. So I'm excited because today we're also going to be featuring one of, I think, the most profound teachers right now on Facebook, which is my friend and expert, Rachel Miller. We're gonna be diving into that in just a second, but you are here for Inner Circle. So welcome to our Inner Circle. And this is our #1 monthly group coaching program for content creators who want to build a high impact and a high profit online business. We believe in the power of online business, and we're excited to bring today's training to you. We're in a social media series inside of our Inner Circle because we know that as you grow on YouTube, that you can also be growing over on other platforms as well. So first, we wanted to say thank you. Thank you, Inner Circle members that are here right now watching live or on the replay. Thank you for our Think fam that's over on the podcast channel watching at this time. We believe that lifelong leaders are lifelong learners. Thank you, John Maxwell. And Warren Buffett says that the best investment that you can make is in yourself. And so for you watching this training today, we just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for being a part of our family here. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you're subscribed as well. So we want to make this the best training that we can for you. And as we walk through Inner Circle, we walk through our 10 steps and the 10 steps to building your 6 to 7 figure media company. I'm excited to have get the guest expert Rachel Miller here today because she really is going to help us with step number 8, which is promote and refine your product and marketing. And she's really figured out how to market on Facebook, and not just market on Facebook, but grow an exceptional company on Facebook. So we're going to be walking through that step for you today here inside of Inner Circle. And like I said, we are inside of this social media series. So inside of this social media series, we've already walked through how to increase your Instagram engagement. That was with our friend Shalene Johnson. We then walked through how do you do Reels and how do you dominate with Reels. That was with Brock Johnson. And then we had one of our Success Star students inside of Inner Circle, one of our mastermind students, Ben Azadi, who taught you exactly how you could be growing your social media without having to waste time and lose your mind, because he's able to create one piece of content that then scales into other pieces of content. So all of that for our Inner Circle members is inside of your membership, inside of Inner Circle. Now, I'm excited to welcome my friend Rachel Miller. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about Rachel. Rachel is a serial entrepreneur, a serial online entrepreneur, and a mom of 6 kids. Hello, thank you. I love seeing other moms out there winning the game of business. Rachel actually began as a mom blogger and went on to build an audience ranging in the millions. She is a published author of multiple books that each have sold more than 100,000 copies and have been featured live on Good Morning America, as well as in other national magazines and syndicated shows. Now, in January of 2017, she began teaching others, which is what I love. You do the thing first and then you teach the thing, right? That's what we teach you to do here. She started teaching how people could craft their viral content, and she's helped over 27,000 businesses grow in their engagement. 49 of those business individuals their individual posts, listen to this, have been in front of more than 10 million people. Hello, 10 million people with the strategies you're going to learn today in this exclusive training with Rachel. I want to bring my friend Rachel on today and welcome her to Inner Circle.
Hey guys, so glad to be here. Thank you so much, Heather. I appreciate you for that lovely announcement.
It's always so fun, right? When people read your bio, you're like, did I do all of those things? That's
it's fascinating for sure. So I've been super grateful to have been able to build a multi-million multi-million people that follow me. And some of them don't even know that I exist. So they don't know it's Rachel that's running this audience. And the power of that audience, though, has changed not just my life, but so many lives, and built so many businesses for myself and for others. And I'm super grateful to be here today to get to show your people what's possible when you have an audience.
I am giddy. Okay, so here's what I need to tell everyone. First, you need to cut out distractions. My Slack has been going up. I'm going to cut down Slack, cut down your distractions, because what Rachel's going to bring to you in the next 30 to 45 minutes is going to be pure gold for you growing your Facebook page. And here's what she's going to be teaching. She's going to teach you how to work smarter, not harder. That's what I need, Rachel. I need to learn how to do working smarter, not harder, with the systems that we can learn that will help us lead to more sales for our Facebook content. So get your notebooks out, get yourself ready. Rachel, I'm handing it right over to you.
Oh, how fun. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And whenever I give examples, I always want to show that it's not just me. So I'm not just the only one who's built an audience of the millions. I've got a slide here, a couple slides, to show you that it's possible for you as well. So there we go. Okay, so it didn't just happen for me. We've had people just even in the last month or so cross over the 1 million fan mark. So this isn't something that happened in the past. This isn't something that happens ages ago in old algorithms. This is something that even Kelly has done in the last couple months. And what this is, she's grown a fan base of over 1 million people without ads. So if Kelly can do it, if all the people here can do it, guys, you can do it too. And you can even do it if you're a mom who thinks you're unemployable, who has a van full. If you love people, if you know that your business can make a difference, then this is something that you can do. Now, I want to take the slide down for a second. I want to show you guys why this is important, even for people on YouTube. Because a lot of you are like, well, I'm here for YouTube, right? I'm here, I'm growing my audience on YouTube. One of the things about YouTube that I love about YouTube is that it's really stable traffic.
Return the new salted caramel butterfingers.
You think they can swim? Well, they're pirates.
That in Facebook, you have these big, giant spikes. You have a spike of traffic. And then guess what happens to that traffic? It dies. Okay? So Facebook has a giant spike of traffic. Facebook then also dies. YouTube, I guess I should have made the colors different because YouTube generally does red. Anyways, just note I swapped the colors wrong. YouTube has this, Facebook has this giant spike of traffic, and YouTube has a long traffic. But notice the spike happens all in one day, and it's a high spike that comes that first day. So when you post on Facebook, more people see it that first day. Like in your audience, you can literally get your post to 10 times your audience size if you use the right tactics, if you have the right content, if you've been consistent in what we call engagement stacking. So you can reach 10 times your audience size. Now, knowing that, in the first day of YouTube, do you reach 10 times your size? No, but you reach 10 times over time as that post grows. So a post I made 4 years ago is still driving traffic because it grows over time. What if you combine the two together? What I mean by that is, what if you take that YouTube link, and this is what's so powerful, why I'm super, super excited to be here. What if you spike that traffic? You spike that traffic with Facebook or with one of the social media platforms that gives early engagement. You spike that traffic, you're able to raise that ceiling of where you start with your content. So you're able to get that YouTube video to even more people over time because you spiked it at the beginning. And that's what's going to be super cool about today. You're here because you're YouTube people, and you're going to use Facebook or TikTok or one of the other spiking platforms to get that early traction, which tells YouTube, which tells Google with the search engine that this link is super valuable. So from now on, we're going to send even more traffic to it than we were previously. Okay, guys, I'm super, super excited for this, for you guys. My strategies start with believing that you shouldn't have to work very hard. How many of you guys are here and you're a mom and you're like, I'm doing all of the things? Like, I think of this as, bring up the slides again real fast. I think of this like, I'm trying to grow my business and I need to have a sales page and I need to have an email list and a Facebook group and I have to post that I put out and I have to be on YouTube and I have to have a lead magnet to go into that. And then I have to have a challenge maybe or a webinar and I have to drive all this traffic to it from all the places. And next thing you know, I feel like I need an ads manager, a copywriter, a videographer, a funnel designer, a group manager. Okay, I'm trying to do all of the things, a script writer, somebody to edit this content. I feel like I'm needing to do all of the things, and maybe I feel like I'm either leading a team that's massive, and I'm like, wait a second, I'm one person in this orchestra. What happened? Where's my business? Or it feels like I'm herding cats, and I'm like, whoa, it's all running away from me. I don't have control over my life anymore. I don't have control over my business. And I have no clue what the heck I'm doing because I'm not a copywriter. I'm not a funnel designer, and do not make me do my own customer service. If anyone else feels like they're being pulled in all the wrong places, I want you to know that you don't have to be, that there is an easy way, and it's called live looping. Oh, where did that slide go? Okay, I don't know where the slide went for that one, guys. How many of you guys, let's jump it down. How many of you guys have watched those videos on YouTube? And it's somebody, and they start playing the music, and they play one instrument, like tap, 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 and then they add another instrument sound, and then they add another instrument sound, and before you know it, you watch, it's one person, but they use a technique called live looping, and as they're playing their music, it becomes a song in time because they play dun dun dun, and then that plays again and again, and they add dun 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 dun, and next thing you know, it's an actual song. It sounds like it's a whole orchestra, and it's one person. But what one person is doing is they're having the content loop. Now, here's what's beautiful. You've already done this. If you're listening here right now in Inner Circle, you have the content made in YouTube already. All you need to do is turn on your looping system. Turn on that system that you play it once and it repeats. And it repeats in a way that stacks on each other. And now you can literally stop working and see the results happen. Guys, I made this map. I'm going to shoot the slide again. I made this map, literally, this one right here. I made this map right there six years ago. And that map right there has run for 6 years without me having to remake the content. That is my original. Here's what I'm going to make as my content. Here's what I'm going to cover in one of my websites. That website is earning money. It's earning multiple 5 figures to this day without me working on it, with content that I created years ago, content that brings in literally 100 million page views to my website. And I haven't worked on it, but I am still promoting it, but I haven't made new content. I just have that content on repeat. So that's the system I want to talk to you right now. We're going to talk about how to make your content repeat. You can pull it on down.
Reese's eggs are back, and we hit them somewhere you'll never find. Psych! We put them everywhere. Grocery stores and supermarkets, gas stations and chiropractors' offices, bowling alleys and grocery stores, which we already mentioned. Reese's.
That's nothing.
We've got new bounty. It's 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less. And one sheet holds up better while ordinary brands fall apart.
It's good.
Get more done with one. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
The way that you're going to make your content repeat is 4 different steps. 1, you have to make a bumper sticker. Make a bumper sticker. 2, you have to create a content map. After you create the content map, 3, you have to batch and bank your work. And then 4, you need to promote your work, because it doesn't work if you create the work and you never tell anybody about it. How many of you guys have done that? Okay, I've literally done that. I've gone on my phone, I've made a great video, and then I guess forgot it was there, or I said I was going to post it tomorrow. And next thing you know, that work that I did never saw the light of day because I never hit publish. You have to promote it and you have to sell. We're going to take you through these 4 steps. And then once you have these steps made, you turn it onto a recycling system, so you don't have to work as much anymore. Your content goes out to the world without you having to work for it. It goes out on Monday. You know what's going to be posting 6 months from now on Monday. And you didn't have to struggle to create that content because it was already made ages and weeks ago. Now, how many of you are thinking about this and you're like, whoa, wait a second, girl. This sounds like I'm going to have to do a lot of work to set it up. Guys, my content map, I made it in about 30 minutes. If it takes you more than 30 minutes to do the content map, you're working too hard on it. So it should take you like 30, 40 minutes to make your content map. And then to create that bank of content, we've literally seen people do it on a Saturday. So if you can give me 1 day, you can literally invest in your future audience for their lifetime. Now, earlier, Heather told you that I've had 27,000 people purchase my program. Like me, the mom of 6 kids who thought she was unemployable, has had 27,000 people purchase my program. Guys, that happened from work that I did one time years ago. And that's what I want to help you guys with here today. Okay. 1, know your bumper sticker. 2, make your map. 3, batch and banky, because it doesn't count if you don't have it organized. And then 4, you have to actually publish it. So it sounds simple. It's easy. It does take some elbow grease, but I think you can do it in a single day. So if you're here in the Inner Circle group, I want you to tag somebody as like pinky swear that you're going to do this together. Because I don't know if you're like me, I start something and I say I'm going to do it and then I don't do it. Get a partner and literally say, okay, we're going to take ourselves out for coffee virtually. We'll touch back in an hour, and both of us are going to go make our content map. Let's go do it. Go do that. Pick a partner and then say, okay, we're all going to do this together on Saturday. I'm going to do it my Saturday. You're going to do it your Saturday. And then we're going to say, did you do the work? How many did you do? And keep each other accountable. Okay. To begin, the bumper sticker. That's part one. Know your bumper sticker. So I'm getting a marker out here. Where did I put my markers? Oh, okay. Here's my marker. We're going to start with a bumper sticker. Your bumper sticker is your I am statement for your audience. What does your audience call themselves? I am a what? What does your audience call themselves? You have to start with language that your audience says about who they are. Now, one of the things in YouTube is that we like in YouTube to give like reviews, to be kind of educational, to go into like tips and tutorials. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they're very different. What the person wants when they engage on Facebook, when they engage on Instagram, they want to make sure that anything they engage with makes them look good. So you want to think, not who are they now, but who do they want to define themselves as in the future? Who do they aspire to be? When they go to sleep at night and they picture themselves in their best self, what is that person? So for me, I still picture myself as a quirky mom. I'm a little weird and I'm a mom. Only now I'm weird because I also collect businesses. Okay, we think, what do we call ourselves? Now, it's not necessarily what you call yourself, it's what your audience will call themselves. I am a what? Know what that is. And then when you know what that is, I want you to kind of think about that journey that your customer's on. They're going from 0 to an amazing day. And along that journey, they've got some steps, right? They've got some stages. Your YouTube videos and your social media content and everything that you're posting in all of the places needs to walk them along that journey. Oh, my word, guys, I went blurry. My camera sometimes does that. Sorry about that. Okay. Needs to walk them along the journey. So you're thinking, who do they want to become? What is that I am statement? I am at this stage, I'm what? Okay. And then ask yourself along that journey, what things do they need to do to get along that journey? What beliefs do they have to have? What things do they need to love along that journey? What things are going to motivate them? What things are they going to have as a result, like a mini result? What things are they going to have as a story? Okay, what I mean by that is like a badge, a story badge. Like my kids, they're in band and they're in theater, and so they all have in band. They have a story about the different chairs that they're in. So they have a story about how they met this thing or how they dropped their instrument. Okay, that's a story that everyone has in that space. It's a story that when my daughter's talking to me about the chair, I'm sort of thinking, what the heck is she talking about? Because I'm not a flute and I really don't care what chair I'm in. Does it fit my butt? Can I sit in it? That's about the gist of my list of what a story is. But that's her story is what chair she's in. So I want you to think in the language that your audience would say about what their stories that they're telling themselves. What obstacles are they facing? Okay, what proof do they need to tell themselves they've made it? This is all the content that you're going to be creating. Now, in YouTube, you already have some videos. So let's say you have a video of a review of a product. Awesome. When you're promoting that review, how can you promote it with a story? How can you promote that review of a product with a motivational statement? How can you promote it with we're going to overcome this obstacle that you're in? How can you promote it with a belief, a manifesto, like, oh my word, I believe this about myself. Once you have those, sorry guys, I move so much. And it's fun when you move a lot. And this also tells you don't have to be perfect when you're making videos. That's something on especially social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok. They do not want perfection. And that's one of the fun things. Once you have your journey, next thing you have to do is make your map.
Your home is your happy place until you come back to bad odors. Use Febreze plug-in. It has a microchip that alternates between 2 scents to fight odors and provide freshness for up to 50 days. Try Febreze Plug.
Snap your W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Plus, get your biggest refund. File free now. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. Click for eligibility.
A little bit messy because I'm not an organized person in the sense I'm one of those chaotic people who is creative and always thinking of ideas. So my map looks like this: things I love, stories. So remember all those things that we mentioned: obstacles. We've got beliefs. Okay, we've got myths that they need to break. We've got tips. Okay, I'm going to make my map of what I'm going to write about, what my content's going to be, what my audience needs to know so that they can be successful. What are some myths that they have about the niche? So I believe that video should be perfect. That's a myth. I'm going to crush it. You don't need to be perfect. I believe that all videos must be 10 minutes long. No, actually 15 seconds is the real hit right now, at least on TikTok's Reels and YouTube Shorts, right? I believe that anyone can do video marketing, even if they've never, they don't want to dance ever on social media, ever. That's me. I don't dance. So I believe, what are those beliefs that they have? What obstacles are they overcoming? They don't have money for equipment. What tips can you give them? So you're going to make your map and you're going to list as many stories that your audience has dealt with. And when you're wondering, is this a good story? Always go back to your I am statement. Is this story about Legos that you're telling something that all of your audience would understand? If yes, then tell that story. If they would not get the joke, then don't tell it. Because it has to only relate to your perfect people, only relate to those I am people. What things do your perfect people love that other people don't love? I love email deliverability because that's something that as a business owner, I really, really care about. If I tell my husband about email deliverability, he's not a business owner. He doesn't really care too much about being an entrepreneur. He doesn't get it, right? So what are those things that only your perfect person loves? What are those tips that only your perfect person will go bonkos for? This, guys, becomes your content. Now, my guess is some of you already have videos on YouTube that cover these things, that you can match a belief to, you can match stories to. That's awesome because you're going to create content on Facebook, on Instagram, on all the other places, especially Facebook, because that's where my jam is. You're going to create content there that drives people to your YouTube channel to watch the long lesson, the full video, okay? And when you do this, now YouTube gets that spike, and YouTube then says, oh, you drove many people to this video. It must be super valuable. So we're going to increase its likelihood of being found in searches because we got traffic coming into us with posts that have this keyword in it, and it's the keyword that people are searching, and it's the keyword that this video is. So this must be a really valid search result. Okay, guys. So you've got your map. The first thing you need to do is know your bumper sticker. That's the I am statement. Know the bumper sticker that your audience wants to say. Second thing you need to do is make your content map. We've showed you how to make the map. I would love for those of you who are listening to go take yourselves out for coffee, give yourself a date, and make your maps. This should only take you about 30 minutes. Because you should know what things your audience believes, what things that they have as tips that they should have. There's some hacks if you need them. Actually, just PM me if you need to. It's Rachel Miller on Facebook. Big hair, you should be able to find me. I got a cover with 6 kids on it. Go in there and get ideas. I want you to list as many of these as you can because the next step is batching and banking your content. Okay. Are you guys all still with me? Am I going too fast? I am a fast talker, and yeah, it's just fun because we want to get like great results and get it done quickly. Okay, so next we need to batch and bank. So I look at that map. Bring up a map again. Bring up the screen. There we go. Okay. And so I look at my map of content. Here it is. And I say, oh, wait, let's actually show you some of the other maps. This is a map that somebody who is a business coach created. This is a map that a doctor created. She teaches doctors. So while I showed you my map, it was kind of chaos. Not everybody's map is chaos. Some people's maps are like this one, a nutritionist, or this one. I love that one. Like, man, I should have done mine in Post-it notes. I love Post-it notes. It's so pretty. Make your map however you need to make your map. But the most important thing is that you made it, and then look at your map. Each one of these Post-it notes, she has a content ID on. So all the red ones are things that she loves. All the yellow ones are stories. Actually, those are her proofs. Next one, the orange ones are her tips. She's teaching tips and solutions for problems. Over this one, wins. Here's stories that people, how they've overcome an obstacle. So each one of those Post-its is a different topic. What she needs to do next is to pick up her phone, literally pick up her phone, and go to that topics and say, I'm going to make a photo for each one of these. So she has the list. She's going to take her list and do number one. One is, oh my word, the dogs are going bonkers now. Number one is this. Number two is this. Number three. So she numbers all of the options. And then as she goes through her numbers, she's going to take photos. So number one, sorry guys, my dogs are going bonkers. I don't know what's going on. Takes the camera out and makes a photo of her, whatever it is. She's going to take a photo of it right now. So one photo. Two, the next thing, go around the house, go around your life, and take a photo. My guess, guys, is you already have photos in your life, in your business, that match that journey. Okay, so thinking of, like, let's say you're in fitness. Let's say you're in fitness and you've got things that they love. They love having extra space in their jeans. They love a belt buckle going down, right? That they don't need the belt as much. They have a story of the diet yo-yo. So you can take a picture of something that you hated when you were dieting. You can take a picture of the jeans. You can take a picture of one of the myths that you can't have ice cream, so you show the ice cream bowl. You can take a picture of each one of the things on this list. Now, what I would love for you to do is to think of a YouTube video that you've already got running that you can then link to. So when you post this in your Facebook feed, in your Instagram channel, you then tag your page and say, hey guys, we've got this in our YouTube channel. We've got this over here where you can learn more. Take the full content. Okay, so now how do we actually bank? Bring it back up and we're gonna go into the actual banking. What I like to do after I go through, I like to go and put everything into a folder. So we go onto Google Drive and I open up a folder in Google Drive and I drop all of my photos into that folder. So you can see here, here's a photo of my kid's closet. I've got a photo of me holding books, a photo of my water bottle, okay? I went through my list and I took as many photos as I could. I even went to my audience, like this one right here. I went to my audience and said, hey, can you share some of your photos? So Arena here showed how her son, and I said, his mom just got to 2 million views on her 2 million shares on her content. I took a picture of Josh. He sent me a picture of his stuff. So I asked my audience even to give me photos that I could share featuring them. So anyways, I collected all my photos. What do I do next? Collect all my photos. We also do the same thing for video, guys. So just like we collected photos, we also want to collect videos. But what do we do next? We put them into Drive, and then we write the content. How many of us have taken the photos, have taken the videos, and then we stop there, and we don't do the finessing? Okay, this is actually, like, for me, it's actually the hardest part because I don't like writing. So what I found that makes this stage super, super easy and super, super effective is that I get out my phone and I use an app called otter.ai. It's a completely free app, or I use the free version. Maybe there's a paid version. I use the free version. And I turn on the microphone, and everything that I say that comes out of my mouth, the microphone transcribes into words. So I'll go to my batch and I'll say photo number 1. I went to the store and it was so cool to see what happens when I da-da-da-da. And this is a tip we're covering in our YouTube channel today. Click for more. Okay. Next, 2. Okay, so the other day I was eating and I had this thing and the myths that people believe, blah, 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 and this is proof that it's possible for you. 3, I go through my list and I literally say each one of the things and I just speak into my app. Now, this is something people will always say to me, Rachel, how come your words, like your writing, seems like you're talking to me? It's because I'm literally talking. I'm not writing those things out. I'm speaking them, and then I take the app and I copy and paste it into a spreadsheet. Once it's in the spreadsheet, guys, now it's a copy and paste system. We typically, most of the people who help me with my social media do not speak English, and they don't live in my country. And it doesn't matter that they don't speak English and live in my country, because all they're doing is copying that cell of the wording and they're pasting it onto the platform. They're taking number, photo number, whatever, video number, whatever, and they're uploading that video number into the platform and they hit publish. That's it.
Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear has wavy edges.
It's no ordinary square. Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear has wavy perforations that tear so much better, with more cushiony softness. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Into the platform and they hit publish. That's it. This is how this becomes a set and then forget social system. You truly can promote your content, but make the content one time and recycle it again and again and again for literally life. Now, all those videos that you've created, you're able to drive traffic to them using Facebook, using one of those social engines that spike the traffic, causing your YouTube to actually get more search results in the end, because more people came to it and then YouTube says, oh, this is important, and you see those results. Now, one of the little tips I have for you is if you're doing this to spike your YouTube traffic, try to make sure that in your phrase, you use part of the YouTube description. What you want it to appear in search, make sure that's in the first 3 lines. You don't always want it in the first line because you need a hook, some type of engagement, to capture their attention. So you may not want it in the first line, but you're going to want that search phrase in there because Google, the search engine, sees that phrase coming in with your link to your YouTube video and then says, hey, YouTube, it came in with this search phrase. So now you've increased your likelihood of coming up in search. So it's a little hack for you. I love to use that same phrase to help my search traffic. So once we have it, we've got our bumper sticker. We've made our content map. We've batched it, which meant we took our phone and we took all the photos. We took our phone and we made all the videos. We banked them by putting them into a Google Drive or into wherever your system is that you're tracking. Some of my people prefer to use Trello, and they put all their videos as separate cards in Trello. They put all their photos in their photo stream in Trello. Wherever you're using as your system to keep track of your content, you want to not just batch it, which means you take all the photos at one time and all the videos at one time. You also want to bank it, which means you put it somewhere and you organize it. Whenever I upload them, I post them 1 through whatever. So my next photos I will post might be 87, 97, 98, or 98, 99, 100, 101. I title them with a number so that way they can go into the spreadsheet and I can write all that content. It's ready to go. Then we want to promote the posts. So how many of us are wanting to grow on Facebook and we're wanting to grow on YouTube? One of the best ways to grow is by cross promotion. So that's how we're growing our YouTube channel, because we're driving traffic from Facebook to YouTube. But just like YouTube wants to see those incoming links, Facebook and all the other platforms, they want those incoming links too. So I love to take every piece of content that I ever post anywhere, whether I post it on YouTube or I post it on Pinterest. I want to make sure every single piece of content is cross-promoted in another place. So I might promote it by driving the link over email. I might drive a link over email. I might share it into a Facebook group, my group, or even another person's group if it's relevant and they don't see it as spam. I might share it over Messenger or over chat. I might give my own post a like, because if I don't like my own content, why should somebody else like it? I might give my own post a thumbs up. I might tag a friend who needs that content, right? I might tag them. I'll post, see somebody that left a reply, and then I'll reply back with a question. And that then leads to a back and forth dialogue. I'm going to save my own post. So once you've created your piece of content on Facebook or wherever that platform is, you want to engage with your content, just like I've listed ways to engage here. Another fun thing to do is to embed it into a blog post. So guys, I want you to share your content a second time. Promote it a second time, engage on it. When you do this, you're giving the platform signals. So I'm telling Facebook this post that I posted on Facebook is worth liking. And people just like me should like it. I'm telling Facebook it should be in Facebook groups. The people in this Facebook group should see this post that I just made, but also people in this group should see other types of content that I create because they're similar to my audience. This content is so valuable. It's getting back and forth interactions. So Facebook, you should show this content to people just like the people talking on this. So this is how, guys, we're able to see content reach 10 times the people that follow the page. Pull up the slides one more time, and I want to show you guys what happens when you're consistent with this. Okay.
Here today, gone tomorrow. Cadbury.
Here, I told you that you want to ask an I am statement. So we asked our audience an I am statement. We got our audience to give us ideas. We create the content. You know you're a graphics designer when there's 50 shades for the color purple. The result of this, guys, the results when you do this is that you're going to have your audience pay attention. This girl that posted this only had 200 fans on her Facebook page. She only had 200 fans. And yet she was able to reach 2,000 people, so 10 times her audience. And she was able to get 200 comments on that post. And she was able to do that with a single post when she only had 200 fans. Why? Because she posted the right content and she posted it to the right audience. She posted it when it was something about their journey, about who they are and where they are in the journey. And she posted it and then promoted it. She promoted it by giving Facebook the signals that said, hey, this content is worth seeing. This content is super valuable. Guys, when she can do this and she can grow, so can all of you. We've seen another gal in here. Let me see if I can find her. Oh, where did it go? Oh, guys, there was another girl in here. Let me see if I can find her. She started this, and within 4 months, she was able to 10x her entire audience, because it's not something that you do once. It's something you can flop it back down again. It's not something you do once. It's something that you're going to do again and again and again to get results. So while you start posting your content today, you're like, okay, I'm live looping. I'm posting a photo. I'm posting a video. I'm posting a conversation starter about this content. I'm posting the map. Those things that I believe, those things that I love, those stories that everybody in my niche has. And I'm linking to my YouTube videos. I'm not seeing results today. Those results start stacking on each other. And little by little, just like in YouTube, where you post consistently, next thing you know, you have this groundswell of people ready to see you, ready to take your post from 200 to 2,000 people in a single post in 24 hours time. It happened for her. It can happen for you guys. And the steps, once again, to recap: 1, know your bumper sticker. What is that statement that your audience desperately wants the world to know about them? I am a what? This makes your content shareable. If your content's all about you, if it's all tips and stuff, that's content that's great for search, but that's not content that gets people to share, that gets people to instantly engage. Then you have to make your content map. Sounds crazy, looks messy, but frankly, it's absolutely life-changing for you and for your audience, because now they know what to expect from you and you don't have to work as hard because the work was done once. Then you have to batch it. It's not enough to make the map. You have to actually get your camera out and make all the content. And I love to take the friction away. So I love to use just my webcam. I love to just use my phone. I love to keep it really, really basic, because the point isn't the fluff and the fanciness. The point is that I got content out there to the world that's making a difference in their lives. So I batch as quickly as I can. 80-20 it. The 20% of my effort that's going to get the 80% of results. Batch it, bank it. And for me, that means putting it into a spreadsheet and using Otter to create the content the words that content is. Then I promote it. How do I promote it? I engage. I show my audience what behavior to engage. I show Facebook what I want my content to look like and to be like by engaging in my own content. When I do this, guys, I'm able to grow my list, grow my leads, grow my sales, and okay, I did it all in 40 something minutes, just like I promised.
Oh my goodness, Rachel, that was amazing. I was taking notes the whole time. I was like, I got my content map going. I don't know if you can see this, but I was like, who is my I am statement content map? Because guys, the learning doesn't stop. This is all part of the entrepreneurial journey and just so incredible. So Rachel, thank you so much for that training, that part of the training. And because, we want to make sure that people can get access to you at a deeper level, we want to send them to thinksocialsystem.com. That will be a way that they can go deeper with you and really learn more about what you're teaching, because we crammed as much as we could in for that 45 minutes. So they can go here, Rachel. What can they expect on the other side of this thinksocialsystem.com?
Inside of that, we actually give you the spreadsheets and we'll give you the actual content map. So if you're one of those people who's like, could I just fill in your system and get it done faster without having to mentally gymnastics this? We give it to you, the step-by-step thing. And then we even give you, here's your content map, here's your content calendar, here's your content everything. And forgive me, my child is knocking the door. Guys, I'm on a call. There is they all came up from school. So they're anyways. Okay. So yes, it's inside there. We have all of the details. It's step by step by step. We do cover it quickly, but that's because I truly think people overthink this. And it should take you 30 minutes to make your map, and it should take you a day or 2 days to batch your content. Because if it's taking you longer, then you're overthinking it. The point is not to make, YouTube is meant for that production. And that's the difference between YouTube and Facebook. Facebook, just your place to promote what you've produced. So get in and get out as fast as you can is kind of my motto.
Okay, I'm going to take that to heart, because I'm a struggling perfectionist, Rachel, and I want it to always look perfect and always be perfect. And so I'm going to take that to heart. I'm going to take the challenge. Think Inner Circle. I want you to take the challenge this weekend and make your map. Let's make our content maps and post them inside of the Inner Circle group, because I want to share those with Rachel, so we can do this as a collective group. And if you're part of the Think fam and you're watching right now on the YouTube channel, post it and tag Rachel and myself on social media. Tag us so that we can see your content maps. Well, we are going to jump into the second part of our Think Inner Circle. And if you want to jump in and be a part of what we're doing here at Think Media on a deeper level, helping you grow your online business, you can join us at thinkinnercircle.com for the monthly membership. This gives you exclusive access to our friends like Rachel and Brock Johnson and Shalene Johnson and Ben Azadi, the people that have been a part of what we're doing this year and the last part of last year, and so many other incredible expert friends who we bring into our Inner Circle. And here's the thing, when it comes to being a trainer or an expert that we bring in, it's not just about the receipts. It's not just about, how are they doing in business? To us here at Think Media, we want to bring people to you just like Rachel. Can I just also say, I love so much that her dog was barking, that her kids came home, because guys, That's real life. Like this is just real life doing the work, and it makes it so amazing to not have to like think about being perfect when you're doing all of the things. So if you want to go deeper with our expert friends like Rachel, who when we vet them, it's not about just the business, it's about what they're building, it's about the integrity of the person, it's about that they're building something and helping people on a much deeper level. And that's exactly who Rachel Miller is. You can follow her over on social media. You can go to thinkinnercircle.com if you'd like to have access to the second part of this training, where we're going to go deeper in answering your questions, having some hot seats where you can come on live and ask us questions. But if not, we'll catch you in the next video. You can click or tap the screen right now if you're on YouTube, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Dishes just aren't getting clean.
Problem isn't your machine. It's likely your detergent. I recommend switching to Cascade Platinum Plus. These new pods have the grease-fighting power of Dawn, easily removing up to 100% of tough stuck-on foods. Cascade Platinum Plus.
American Eagle. Introducing a spring collection.
Made for dream chasing.
Live your life. American Eagle.
Niche content just generally has a low likelihood of going viral. A lot of people are seeing low views, low reach. They're wondering what's working now. We're going to be talking about little known secrets top creators use to trigger the algorithm and go viral. One of my favorite stories is Mary. She just hit 1 million subscribers. Mary started YouTube when she was 60 years old, and she just turned 65 and got that gold play button. In fact, if you want big reach, implement these strategies. I have 8 of them for you. Let's hit number 1. You got to just press record. We're going to be talking about little known secrets top creators use to trigger the algorithm and go viral. And if you're a marketer, business owner, and entrepreneur, there's going to be nuggets, an influencer, creator. If right now you're working for a business, an agency, but even thinking about making some of your own content on the side, I really believe that our time together will be valuable. And so the power of YouTube is significant. And I really believe that with some of the tips we're going to learn today, that you can apply this to what you're doing. And we're going to be talking about really what are the secrets and strategies of the top 1% of YouTube channels. And kind of a disclaimer is, you know, I'm going to deliver on this exact promise. There's a lot of different reasons you should approach YouTube, and you want to define, this is worth writing down, what does winning look like for your business? Because oftentimes we chase views when maybe that isn't the most important metric. It could be leads, it could be sales, it could be community, it could be impact, it could be the right type of people as opposed to just anybody. But saying that, we are going to be talking about virality today. And so if you want more views, implement these strategies. I have 8 of them for you. Let's hit number 1, the mass appeal method. The mass appeal method. Here's the problem. Hyper niched content has a low likelihood of going viral. In fact, there's a lot of problems we're facing right now. Views are kind of down across the platform for most people. YouTube Shorts have disrupted the platform. There's a lot of love and hate relationship with them, but regardless, they've kind of divided attention. A lot of people are seeing low views, low reach. They're wondering what's worked, but also what's working now. But also hyper niche content just generally has a low likelihood of going viral. And it's not that you shouldn't make hyper niche content, but it's simply that if you want big reach, then you got to use the mass appeal method. Some of you may have heard of Noah Kagan, just launched a cool new book called $1 Million Weekend. You maybe have heard of the website AppSumo. I believe he's the founder of that website. He was like employee number 23 of Facebook or something like that. And he started YouTube like a lot of people start YouTube. Here's a video that's 6 years old, how to hire right the first time. And it's kind of like a search-based, like practical how-to video. Cool, great. But if you look at it too, it got 10,000 views. Now that's, you know, a lot of us would be like, I'd love to have 10,000 views. But like in all, you know, that was also over 6 years. It's just a hyper niched, specific pain point. It is not mass appeal. Well, if you focus on seeing what some of the stuff he's doing now, here's a video that he did, Meet the Billionaire That Works a Normal Job. 5.6 million views. Like, But think about this. It's a mass appeal topic. Now, he's not off brand here. He's teaching entrepreneurship. He's teaching business. He's teaching that kind of stuff. But compared to just like how to hire somebody versus a story and then a powerful thumbnail, I made 600 million a year doing this. Much more broad appeal. Let's look at his top 4 most viewed videos. Asking an 80-year-old millionaire, was it worth it? Asking millionaires how to make $1 million. Asking a billionaire how to make $1 million. And the billionaire that works a normal job. We're talking between 4 and 5.5 million views. Now, here's the thing, though. This is 1,000x more views than that hyper-niched video. So if you want to start getting more views on YouTube, there's something you got to think about. Broad appeal, mass appeal. Now, your objection might be, so do I just follow some trend? Do I just, just make content that's unrelated? That's not what I'm saying. But you ask yourself, how can I package this video? Or what topics could I hit that would be on brand for me, but that could also be more mass appeal? I think there's another insight here that we're seeing this kind of man on the street interview style or tapping into other people's stories or interviews is a big opportunity. I don't recognize that person at all. In fact, his name's not on there. I don't know who it is, the billionaire. But getting that guest on, instead of giving a name that nobody would necessarily know that individual name, you're actually giving a category, billionaire. Okay, now I'm listening. It's a little more interesting. This is Layla Hermosi. There's a video that she's getting great views and has a strong YouTube channel, and the title is How World-Class Leaders Hold Employees Accountable. Sounds amazing. A lot of us should watch that video, but it's hyper-niched. It's a very small group of people that want to learn how to hold employees accountable. And if we click over to her most viewed video, it's using the mass appeal method, how I brainwash myself to success. Now, again, she's teaching business, entrepreneurship, very specific. But as far as getting broader views, she has a much broader video. On screen, there's some pretty tactical things we can learn as well. Transformation is one of the most powerful things you could do in a thumbnail, from this to that. So she took an older photo of herself to the new photo of herself. There's the tension between where you were and where you are now. In fitness, this is incredibly powerful. You see the tension in makeup before and after. It could be in cars or repairing something before and after. Very powerful. And so 56 times more views when she used the mass appeal method. So here's your goal. Your goal is to find the sweet spot between staying true to your niche and offering valuable content that resonates with the broader audience. And when it comes to social media marketing, I think that some of us are going to do a lot better this year when we tap into broad appeal and start experimenting with topics. Just ask yourself, would this apply to more people? And it really rubs against us when you're like, I got to stay niched. I got to stay in my niche. There's an argument for that, but the mass appeal method is where the views are, and so use it wisely. Now, if you study Roger Wakefield's channel as a service provider, as someone teaching plumbing, and who's had incredible videos that are how-to and search-based, and they've done well, they've done great. But those are more hyper-niched. In fact, looking at a couple of his recent videos, toilet wax versus rubber, which works better, how to service a water heater, plumbing 101. And again, let me make the point. I think that these videos should be a part of your content mix. But if all we're solving for is virality or getting a lot more views, then we need more mass appeal. So what happens when we study some of Roger's most viewed videos? Well, we see Real Plumber reacts to the biggest plumbing scammers, 2.3 million views. Real Plumber tries awful plumbing hacks, finds the awful hacks on social media, tries them himself, 840 times more views when using the mass appeal method. Still on brand, still the expert plumber, but it's tapping into broad appeal, tapping into things being more entertaining, tapping into things being shareable. In fact, one of our students did this, who is a chiropractor. So what he did, and here's kind of the formula for you, can you find a viral clip, a viral video, something on TikTok, some platform, and can you react to it? So Tom here is a chiropractor, and he reacted to this Y-stat treatment. Have you ever seen these? We've seen some of these videos trending. They like break the person's back, crack their neck, pull it with a tractor. Like, you're like, dude, why is this chiropractor using a tractor? Like, this is ridiculous. So this Y-strap treatment was a video that he reacted to as a chiropractor. And for him, he got 590 views. So I want to encourage you, as we're using these methods, you should write this down, VFM. VFM, it stands for this, viral for me. Just too much comparison that happens in social media. And we look at some of the biggest channels and we compare our numbers. VFM is what you're after. So if you're normally getting 50 views on like some practical content in your niche, then 500 or 5,000 would be really interesting to you. And you're not sacrificing reaching the right people. Maybe a few of them will sneak in there when it gets a little more entertaining. But the goal here is to use the mass appeal method to get more views, more top of funnel reach, if you will. And this strategy is incredibly powerful for that. Number two is the reaction strategy. We already hit it, but now we're going a little bit deeper. So this is exactly what Roger started to do here. Real plumber reacts to biggest plumbing scammers. You should steal that title. Insert your niche and insert too. People who don't know Roger yet don't know Roger yet. So you're also, even in the titling, you're titling and positioning things that a total stranger would be interested in clicking on. Good thumbnail, good positioning, 2.3 million views. And even more powerful than that, having vidIQ installed, I could see that this video gets 11 VPH. It's worth writing down. VPH stands for views per hour.
So what's in original Tropicana Pure Premium OJ? Only oranges squeezed at the perfect moment. That's it. No added sugar, just lots of delicious. Because delicious OJ is kind of our thing. Tropicana Pure Premium.
The first ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek.
PH stands for views per hour. A 3-year-old video that still gets 11 views every hour gets me super excited. It's one of the reasons why I love YouTube the most, because it's the only platform where your content lives forever. And if done right, it's the only platform that can keep getting views on 3-year-old videos. And so this is powerful, but what is he doing? He's reacting. One of my favorite things is tapping in and using OPC. Now, not OPP, naughty by nature. Some of you will get that. OPC is other people's content. And based on fair use law, you're allowed to use other people's content if you're transforming, if you're being a comedian around it, news around it, reaction to it. So how do I use other people's content? You just use it. Because if you use it, but you transform and you're on there, it's the React format. So you're getting 2.3 million views by sitting there and reacting to a bunch of crazy stuff that you downloaded from this YouTube channel, from that TikTok. All of y'all can do this. Super powerful. And so in the video, you can see him there. He's looking, he's reacting to a news clip and reacting to some different things. And that's simply using the reaction strategy. This isn't a new strategy. It's one of the biggest formats on YouTube. The React channel, Mr. Beast has a React channel, kids react. And so what would happen if you started thinking about what can I react to that's related to my business, my agency, and I can make reaction videos that could start reaching a whole new level of people and getting more views. This channel, Kaz Zamet, this channel has 20,000 subscribers, but the views on this video he got was 150,000 views. You know you're doing well when your views exceed your subscriber number. And he's using reaction though. It's filmmaker reacts to Halo Reach, all the cutscenes. Wait, I didn't even know I could use Halo. Yeah, OPC, other people's content through fair use. And so now you're tapping into all kind of things. People that are interested in Halo, people that don't know you, but they know the intellectual property of Halo. And so him reacting to that has his views punching way above his weight class from subscribers. And so think about this. Imagine, agency owner reacts to bad car dealership Facebook ads in 2020. Common mistakes to avoid. So you could pull this all the way down. And that's why viral for me matters. Viral for me is like, well, I'm not going to necessarily just jump onto some mega trend. Let me pull the React strategy into my business world or my world as a marketer. Here's one. Doctor reacts to, is obesity a choice debate? 1 million views. So he pulls a debate that's already a separate YouTube video, jumps in. You know it's already getting a little polarizing. It's interesting. What does the doctor say about it? You see the thumbnail there. So here's the question. What content could you react to and what is related to your niche but would also appeal to a wider audience. Again, as we use these strategies, these are secrets of the top 1%, and this is secrets to going viral. You very well could be one video away from 100,000 views or maybe millions of views as you start using the mass appeal method and the react method. Number 3 is ethical clickbait. Ethical clickbait. So let's define this, because a lot of us, maybe we're guilty of it. Look at your neighbor and say, I know you've clickbaited before. I know you've done that for sure. I've seen you do it, and it was wrong. And but you got views. I know it worked. But so clickbait's kind of a weird term, because we don't want to. Here's really what clickbait is. Clickbait is misleading. It's deceptive. It hurts trust. So you might get short-term views, but it hurts trust. It overpromises. That's kind of what you think about clickbait is what it is. It's like, okay, like I clicked on the video, but it tricked me and it let me down. And it underdelivers. But ethical clickbait, we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you're a good marketer, you're good at baiting clicks. Like you are trying, what are you trying not to get people to click on your videos? Like, I just don't want people to opt into my email list. I just, So the right way to do it, ethical clickbait is engaging, it's compelling, it's honest, it's accurate, and it over-delivers. So it's understanding these principles that we're going to discuss and using them in an ethical way. One of the biggest video podcasts right now is called The Diary of a CEO. And Stephen Bartlett is a British entrepreneur and podcaster. The YouTube channel is getting 25 million views every single month. Here's his social media director. So this is Grace Andrews. She's like his content manager. Here's some of the tactics the top 1% are doing. The Diary of a CEO tests 100 thumbnails for each episode to optimize click-through rate. 100. So what they actually do is they take 3 facial expressions, typically of the guest, and then they've got about 30 quotes, and they try the different quotes on the different facial expressions to see which one has the highest click-through rate using paid ads. They also have a pre-research phase where they come up with different topics. So they use 3 different facial expressions across the thumbnails, and then they do a pre-research testing phase implemented to determine the topics that interest viewers most, and that influences the conversation that Stephen eventually interviews the guest with. And you're like, cool, Sean, it sounds nice for them. I do my social media job by myself. I don't have a team. I'm definitely not split testing 100 thumbnails. I don't even know how to make a thumbnail. Okay, respect. Of course you do, though. AI like Canva, but, and so, but I think there's a lot of takeaways here. What are they doing? They are obsessed with what is going to get the highest click-through rate. How can we get people intrigued? How can we get them to click? And now here's some of their best, most viewed videos. They have powerful title. Now notice in the left side, the Harvard professor reveals the 7 biggest lies. And again, they didn't say his name, because you probably don't know who that professor is, but Harvard has the authority. So interesting, these details. You don't need 8 hours of sleep. So what they split test would be the facial expression. They split test the quote that's in the thumbnail. Notice over here, they're lying about calories. Now, we're talking to a weight loss scientist, and
is it the final vote?
We'll finally know which egg is loved most, Reese's or Cadbury. Choose one.
I choose both. Celebrate Easter with Reese's and Cadbury.
Kids can't hide anything from me.
I'm home.
Especially when they've been using toilet paper that doesn't hold up.
New Charmin Ultra Strong has a diamond weave texture that's more durable and it cleans better, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Come on, they're lying? Wait a minute, you're lying? Who's lying? I'm being lied to? Like, this starts triggering. In fact, check this out. You've been lied to triggers curiosity and an emotional response. It triggers intrigue, anger and disbelief, and confirmation bias. Like, you've been lied to implies deceit. It implies potential injustice. You're angry. Wait, I've been lied to? Emotions of anger and disbelief. Confirmation bias is like, I knew they were lying to me about calories. I knew it. Sure enough, we got to click on this. Even just to affirm, confirmation bias would be to confirm a belief you already had. But this is ethical, because this person, that's a real quote from the video, a real conviction of that weight loss scientist. And it was up to Diary of a CEO to package the video in such a way as to trigger the click and get massive views. Very powerful. This is what the top 1% are doing. This is the level they're playing at. I would argue this. If you would consider that modern marketers are ultimately psychologists and people who study human behavior. And if you're actively not studying psychology and human behavior, totally fine, you're welcome, but you're barely getting into the marketing game. Anybody who's really doing marketing at a high level, this is the stuff they think about all the time. They're thinking about psychology, human behavior, where are people coming from? Like, here's what else you've been lied to. And I'm not saying this is one of so many powerful positioning that this one video happens to tap into. It taps into more. It taps into victim mentality. Viewers connect with the feeling of being deceived, putting themselves in the victim's role and seeking resolution. It taps into the justice seeker. The title positions the viewer as the potential hero that can start to expose the lie and bring justice, and this appeals to the desire to be informed and to make a difference. Sean, take a breath, bro. I had no idea this is how much is going in the thumbnails. Like, what are we? We're trying to make a video, bro. Like, what is? Secrets of the top 1%, though. I mean, so when you start thinking about the level of architecting, title, thumbnail combo, what does the text in the thumbnail say? And this is all ethical clickbait. This is kind of cool. I spent $1,000 on Pinterest ads for my small business. Was it worth it? This is opening up a curiosity loop, and I'm applying this to a business context here to show you this. Like, there is a video called How to Do Pinterest Ads. Good, great video. But how much more interesting is this? This is, I spent my own money, which is stakes. Good storytelling includes stakes. There's my money on the line, there's stakes on the line, and there's a big curiosity grab. Was it worth it? Was it not worth it? Did it work? Did it not work? And so here's a little bonus tip is a challenge strategy is something the top 1% do. Mr. Beast's channel is basically challenges. What would happen? How much is a $1 hotel? What is it like? Could we up it to the next level? Or he puts people through challenges. Can you last through spiders and then being underwater and this, Squid Games? It's all challenges. But you could bring that into a business context. What if you did a test or a case study and then filmed your case? Now it's storytelling of what you do as a marketer, as opposed to just, how to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which is awesome. Do those too, but these are the next level views that we can get, which brings us to number 4, stir emotions and spark interest. You might notice these are stacking, like almost if you mass appeal and you do ethical clickbait, in doing so, you're gonna stir emotions, which you wanna spark the audience's interest. One of the greats in advertising, which as marketers, a lot of the great marketers would study at David Ogilvy, and the book Confessions of an Advertising Man and the other books, one of his core strategies was emotional appeal. He understood that people are more likely to be persuaded by emotions than logic. So that could be humor, sentiment, different emotional appeals. So let me ask you a question.
Are you ready to start your YouTube channel, but you don't know where to begin? Or have you been posting videos, but you're frustrated because you're just not getting the views and nobody is seeing them? For a limited time, you can get the #1 best-selling YouTube strategy book, YouTube Secrets, for free at ytsecrets.com. This book is the proven blueprint that has helped thousands of people go from 0 subscribers to a thriving channel. All I ask is that you pay shipping, and then I will mail you the brand new updated 2nd edition of YouTube Secrets. And when you place your order today, there's a couple other super cool things that'll hook you up with. First, you're gonna get instant access to a free deep dive masterclass where I will break down the exact strategy I'm currently using to generate over 120,000 views per day, every single day on YouTube, and generate over $100,000 per month on the platform, as well as the 3 biggest mistakes that most creators make when starting and trying to grow their channel. channel. That class is free to watch instantly when you pick up this special offer. Now, you're also going to get my video series called The Perfect Video Recipe. One of the updated chapters in the second edition is titled The Perfect Video Recipe. It's actually a formula for how to structure YouTube videos to get maximum views and how to break through in the YouTube algorithm. This is the exact formula that readers of the book and our students are using to generate millions of views. And again, that'll just be included when you jump on this limited offer. Third, you're going to get access to our 1000 Subs Club email newsletter, which delivers actionable weekly tips to your email inbox that will help you get to 1,000 subscribers fast. And we also do really cool weekly giveaways that includes lighting and microphones and YouTube equipment, plus software that will help you on your creator journey. But here's the thing, supplies are limited on this free book promotion. So if you want to grab this offer, go to ytsecrets.com right now and just place your order covering shipping, and I'll get this book in the mail to you right away.
In your content and in your social media marketing, are you just using logic, or are you also crafting content in such a way as to appeal to people's emotions? And so I shot an interview recently with Patrick Bet-David from Valuetainment. The amount of hate we got in the comments, they said, you guys rented a fake jet to film this interview. That's kind of a weird story because I DM'd him on Instagram. It's kind of his vibe. You know, he chartered a jet to fly in to speak at this event. I was like, he's in Vegas. Maybe we can shoot an interview. It was like, hey, I only have a couple hours. The plane is running and I'm speaking at this event. I'm going back. Could we do it on the jet? And I was like, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. It seems, you know, it's gonna make people uncomfortable, whatever. Oh, you rented the jet, whatever. But I was like, yeah, I guess we could do it. It's 4 PM on a Friday. And I think to myself, I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. But like, you know, there's some people that work for us at Think Media, but they're off. They got plans, and I don't want to, you know, mess with them. I asked them, but they're like, no, I got plans. I'm like, fair enough, okay. You know, work-life balance is great. So I hit up a couple of contractors. I'm like, hey, can you film with Patrick Bet-David on a jet in like 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours? That's how much clarity I have for you, and it might not happen. Would you be available? And I asked like Art and Brandon, these guys in Vegas, some freelance videographers I work, and they're like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, what the weirdest? So they commit. Art was like, I got to go out with my girlfriend. Actually, she's not feeling well. So I ended up connecting with Art and Brandon. We ended up shooting this video, the weirdest night of my life. And then, sure enough, even just for people to say, I can see the videographers and the reflection in the window. I'm like, I know. I mean, bro, anyways, the story doesn't really matter. What's the point? The final result, though, was this point, stir emotions and spark interest. As we put out the final video, it's doing very well. In fact, you know, by our standards, it would apply to this kind of top 1%. Now, of course, you maybe never heard of Patrick Bet-David, but he's well known in certain circles. So he's a part of it. I think there's something to be said about hustling when necessary. You see an opportunity, shoot your shot. You know, I just reached out in the DMs. He's like, yeah, in this weird situation, if you can get here and to the tarmac or whatever. So we got there, shot the thing. But then it came to packaging. And thinking about what the content was shot in the interview after the fact, the title ended up being Changes Are Coming for Content Creators. Now, this was not by accident, because I applied these principles of stir emotions and spark interest. One of the things that actually taps into human brains at a huge level is this idea of change, because our human brains are wired for novelty. You know, you go back, and if we thought about keeping your family safe and your kids safe, and if you were like, you know, you're living in rural community, let's go 100 years ago, a couple hundred years ago, and you're worried about maybe bears or people attacking, a lot of times, if your environment just stays the same, it doesn't trigger anything. That's good. That's a good thing. No bear footprints, you know, no danger on the horizon, no storm coming on the horizon. Everything looks good, whether you think about it consciously or not. And so when everything in your environment is staying the same, you don't pay attention to it. But if you then go outside and then you see on the horizon storm clouds, you then say, oh, shoot, something's changing. You know, close the roof, pull down the tarp, get ready. You see bear tracks, now we've got issues. Like, okay, you see change in your environment, it actually causes your brain to turn on. As marketers, you gotta know this. This is why, even though toothpaste hasn't changed in 50 years, Colgate always says new and improved. which, by the way, is impossible. How can it actually be improved if it's new? It can't be. Yet it's on there and you believed it. You're like, it's new and improved. No, it's not even possible. That's the way our brains work, though. So actually, our brains scan. So as soon as even we see the word change, 9 out of 10 videos we're not going to click on. But, oh, a storm's coming? That's the video I got to click on. It's a guy named Tom Bilyeu, and he's got a podcast called Impact Theory.
Let's get real. You don't want to be here today. Nobody does. Okay, maybe that guy does. But you drink Orgain, giving you the energy to act like you want to be here. Orgain, it's real nutrition for real life.
I started All Nation Restoration to help people. Chase for Business is literally what it says in the name. It is Chase for Business, where I can find everything I need in one place so we can help people get back to life.
Theory. Check out these videos. They got 200,000 views, 1 million views, 3 million views, 182,000 views. Look at how often he puts change in the title. How to completely change your life in 2024. Mass appeal, by the way. And also, I mean, I don't know if that's ethical clickbait, Tom. I mean, I'm completely changed my life, but I mean, whatever, we'll leave it to. If you want to completely change your life in 30 days, people don't know what's coming. Prepare for the changing world order. Civilization is about to change forever. That's my favorite one. Oh my goodness. Like, that's a big idea. Like, civilization is about to change forever. Okay. The truth about immortality, rich versus poor, AI, and ending disease. Some scientist. Anyways. So, but this is not by accident. He uses this idea of change in his title a lot. You start catching some of these power principles and apply these to your videos, you're gonna get more views. One of the reasons why this works is loss aversion. Loss aversion is something every marketer needs to know about. People are always more motivated by losing $10 rather than gaining $10. And change is why I click. What changed? Because I don't want my family to be taken away by a vicious bear. So I'm worried, you know, like I love my kids, happy to see my kids, a little bit more happiness with my kids, they're fine. I'm just trying to get through the day. But if my kids are about to be snatched by a bear, I'm moving into bear mode, you know, it's like, so it's loss aversion. And you can take that from a big to a small thing, and change is what triggers that. So again, we're talking into, I'm using like a niche example. There's hundreds, but the idea is you want to spark emotion and you want to tap into these psychological triggers. Just change is coming taps into curiosity and fear of missing out, loss aversion and scarcity, anticipation and hope, social proof and the bandwagon effect, storytelling and narrative. I would screenshot that and study those 5 later just for time's sake. We'll keep it moving. But one other thing to go a little bit deeper on that you could practically apply is before you create your next social media post. And by the way, we're talking about YouTube, but this applies cross-platform. Ask yourself, what emotion do I want this post to trigger? And what on screen right now, you see a study that reveals the top emotions that make content go viral. The top were awe, laughter, and amusement. Think about what is it that you share in the DMs. Who's your Instagram DM friend is my question. Who gets the weird reels and the sketchy reels from you?
Well, they're fun.
You know you're a real friend when you're like, yeah, I can trust him with that one. I said, see this one? It's pretty funny. And it's probably like, oh my goodness, this person was riding this bike down, you know, like GoPro, Red Bull commercial. They jumped off the moon. It got shared. Awe, you know, laughter, amusement. But if you look on screen, you want to be thoughtful about saying, what emotion is this post going to trigger? I know for me, in my career, I made so many mistakes and have been so frustrated often by not getting reach or not getting views or things not working. I didn't ask that question at all. I didn't even think. I actually lean more logical. And so being more thoughtful about which emotion to trigger. And this is worth looking at, and you can look this up later. It's called Robert Plutchik's Wheel of Emotions. So use this tool to plan and position your content. You can grab it on Google. But what they do is there's also going to be like a string of emotions that you'll tie together, like terror, fear, and apprehension, or amazement, surprise, and distraction. And you might have felt by this time too, you might feel like, man, this ethical clickbait thing, looking at some of those changes coming, all of civilization's gonna change. You might be like, bro, that's not I'm not gonna play at that level. Plus I have no idea about that stuff. Obviously, sometimes it would seem clickbait goes more negative or more like you've been lied to, but you can also go positive in a business context, and it has a lot to do with what brand do you want to design. So I think about the top 1%, like Ed Milet. He actually is more viral, but positively, like design your dream life. Are you happy with your life right now? Unlock your mind. So it's just which emotions do you want your brand to represent the most? But tapping into emotion and sparking emotion will absolutely help you go viral and get more views. So this was a video I did. Shout out to NVIDIA AI, who's one of the sponsors here, but we actually collabed with them, did a video. This AI tool creates videos in seconds, no editing, which it does. It's an amazing tool. And its video's doing incredibly well. If you look at the blue line, that just means this video keeps getting views. And I want to say it's been 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, all organic, right? 4 months, 5 months, just keeps going. That's the dream of YouTube as well. It's the most highly leveraged platform. You make content right, that content works for you when you're not working. And so this video, though, it taps into curiosity. What is the tool? A couple different ways to title your videos. A review of a tool, or like this tool. So notice some of those tactics. There's mystery there. There's surprise. There's interest. There's anticipation. And then there's also tapping into awe. Because imagine being able to create a whole video in seconds and not have to edit it. That would be amazing. And so thinking about even, this is software. Like, I mean, our channel is like cameras and lighting and, you could, in a way, not exciting stuff. No, you can make whatever your business or your brand is exciting by stirring emotion and tapping into emotion. Number 5, ride trends with culture surfing. Number 5, ride trends with culture surfing. So that video interview I did with Pastor Bet David, changes are coming for content creators, how to prepare for 2024. One of the ways that we are tapping into culture surfing, what is culture? Culture is going to be music, media, logos, brands. It's all those touch points that make up the culture that we live in. And so in a place for content creators, you'll notice the thumbnail. What do you see? You see the social media platform logos in a creative way. Known platforms, that's culture surfing. Oh, I recognize Instagram, I recognize Facebook, now mind you, my podcast would be a really good podcast to subscribe for if you want to grow on YouTube. So it's a niche podcast. We touch on some of the other platforms, but that's my value proposition is YouTube. But if I want the mass appeal method, what do we do in the thumbnail?
Know why original Tropicana Pure Premium is so delicious? It only has one ingredient. Just oranges, squeezed at peak ripeness. That's it, nothing else. Because that's how you make the most fresh tasting OJ. Tropicana Pure Premium.
Nationwide is more than you think.
Yeah, their client-ready market updates make it easier for me to guide clients, giving me more time to keep plans on track. Total time saving.
Okay, say that 3 times fast.
Total time.
You can now because you have more time. Genius.
Broader appeal. Still narrow because content creators would definitely be my demo, but broader appeal. So you have the known platforms, and he certainly spoke at that context. Ethical clickbait, it's not like, you don't ever use one of these tactics if it's not true. Like you want the video to deliver on that promise. But also known people, for the people that recognize them, known brands, the logos, known events, could be the time of 2024, right at the beginning of the year. So this is culture surfing, all packed into one video. This is Dan Martell. So Dan Martell is the founder and CEO of SaaS Academy. And so he's built a lot of software as a service businesses, investor, doing some different things, crossed 100,000 subscribers recently. And here's one of his non-viral videos. The 5 C's of SaaS metrics. Now again, please have a mix of content, but we're talking about the secrets of the top 1%. So this video got 20,000 views, it's 7 years old, thumbnail's not that great. Of course, a little bit older, he's been improving. So what would it look like for Dan to tap into a more viral strategy? Well, here's one of the videos he did. The only 4 skills you need to build a $1 billion company. 205,000 views. So you might not know Dan, But you might recognize Elon Musk or maybe Steve Jobs, culture surfing. There's two niche things under culture surfing. It's influence surfing and trend surfing. Culture is just broad. It can be logos, brands. Trends would be like times of year. Influence would be people. Now, here's the thing. Back to like fair use and other people's content. If he's breaking down case studies, you have all of that happening in this thumbnail. You've got the Facebook logo, the Microsoft logo, the Tesla logo. You've got their pictures. You've got his picture. You've got the $1 billion companies. And then you've got the only 4 skills. There's some curiosity. He's stacking all of this stuff up. And another powerful thing he's doing is what's called borrowed authority. So again, some of you probably don't know Dan, but again, you recognize some of these other people. As I step into this video, he's going to elevate his own authority, provided he actually delivers value and the video is good and all of that, which is our responsibility to do following. Here's another culture surfing and specifically influence surfing. I tried Andrew Huberman's morning routine, 30 days plus blood tests. So you might not know Goal Guys or this other character in the thumbnail. I don't. But I recognize Andrew Huberman and his viral podcast, and his morning routine is ridiculous. And remember our bonus strategy, challenge? So what could you challenge yourself to do? Tap into culture surfing. And then notice this video has 3.5 million views. So about now, if you're like, Sean, this actually sounds like it's going to take work. Well, yeah, this is actually, that's what we all have to do. We have to get up every day and go to work. But it's worth the work, because imagine what 1 million views or 3.5 million views could do for your leads, sales, your awareness, your brand. A little bit of extra thought, a little bit of extra strategy, a little bit of extra packaging and positioning on your content can lead to next levels as you are publishing. One of the videos I did was the Joe Rogan formula, and it was the Joe Rogan podcast formula, how to start a video podcast the smart way. I took one of my talks that I did for my friend Neil Patel and Eric Sue, and I packaged it in such a way as the video podcast formula has been pioneered by Joe Rogan, which it means turn the camera on, because it's not just audio. It's 2024. I recommend having a video podcast so you can leverage YouTube. YouTube is the #1 podcasting platform. YouTube is absorbing Google Music, Google Podcasts into YouTube Music. They want to take out Apple. They want to take out Spotify. They have RSS feeds now coming out of YouTube.